Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. Today is August the 12th, 2025. Beautiful weather out here. South Florida, Miami is very, very nice. Hopefully, where you are, the weather is behaving. No floods, no tornadoes. We are doing very well. Welcome. Please share the show. We have a special guest today. We are going to be delving into education. We're going to be talking about education. Honorable Alton Vani Kessley, former Deputy Minister of Education Planning, Research, and Development under the CDC administration, will be here Tuesday, August the 12th. We want to welcome our folks listening via Care Radio. Welcome. This is the second day on the show. We welcome you, open arms. Share the show. Call someone else to listen. And at the end of the day, we're going to open the line. You can call in with your comments or your questions. Honorable Kessley is going to be here talking about education, specifically planning and research. Not only research and research, but also development. After you do the planning and you do your research, you have to implement through development. So he's going to come and tell us what did he do? What was his job description? What did he implement? What did he accomplish while he was at the Ministry of Education as Deputy Minister? So Honorable Alton Vani Kessley will be here to talk to us about his accomplishments, the state of affairs of the Ministry of Education, or the education of our children, and what suggestions he has for this particular administration. We are going to be looking at some headlines while our guests get ready. Variety news: deepening crisis in the United Methodist Church over same-sex marriage. So let's go to our newsroom. And this is compiled by our own journalist, Myean. Today's headline: suspects Phoebe Emery Johnson. Well, let's go to the top. First, it says Nimba County District Number 7 Representative Musa Bility frowns at President Joseph Boakar's intent to resubmit the 2025 national budget to the legislature for recast. He termed this as a dangerous abuse of presidential power. On the other hand, the Liberia National Police confirmed the arrest of 2 individuals believed to be journalists with single-barrel shotguns during the Nimba District 5 by-election. The government of the People's Republic of China offers scholarship opportunities to over 200 Liberians to seek advanced tertiary education in China. Away from home, at least 40 people have been killed in an attack on a camp for displaced people in Sudan's western Darfur region, according to an aid group that works there. We have not heard from Mr. Simon Freeman for a while, the leader of the political party. MPC Samuel Freeman questioned yellow machine purchase amid economic turmoil. Mr. Freeman, he says, amid Liberia's worsening economic crisis, the political leader of the Movement for Progressive Change, MPC, Samuel Freeman, is calling on the Boakai administration to reconsider its decision to purchase 285 yellow machines, citing serious concerns about maintenance capacity and the government's economic priorities. David Williams is in from Colorado. Mr. Edward Hall, my own brother, tuning in from the DC area, DMV, huh? Are they call it DMV? Yeah, the DMV area, that's correct. Freeman, speaking recently on OKFN Conversation program, described the procurement as poorly timed and potentially wasteful, pointing to what he termed the administration's lack of manpower and infrastructure to effectively operate and maintain the heavy-duty equipment. He's concerned about bringing in that many machines without the proper infrastructure in place to maintain those machines. Trending this week, University of Liberia instructor charged in armed robbery, attempted murder at Echo Bank. The University of Liberia instructor accused of storming a private banking room at Echo's 11th Street single branch, pointing a shotgun at an accountant and attempting to tape her mouth shut during a robbery, has been formally charged with armed robbery and attempted murder. That's from the Liberia Investigator. Let's turn to Front Page Africa here. This one says, tension mounts in Nimba District 5 ahead of the by-election. That was yesterday, on the 9th actually. Several hospitalized following violent clashes. That was before the election. We are seeing election violence again in Nimba County. Also carried by Front Page Africa, conservationists raise alarm as echo guards resume hunting in the Nimba Reserve. Liberia's echo guard returned to hunting and slash and burn farming after donor-funded conservation projects ended, raising alarm over renewed threats to the Nimba Forest Reserve biodiversity. Experts warn nearly 2 decades of forest protection could be undone. Our former guard cites government inaction and poverty for resuming their activities. The Forestry Department agency, amid lack of funding, is hampering their efforts, but offers no timeline for rehiring the guards or restoring conservation efforts in one of the world's most vital forest regions. So people have returned to the forests, hunting, doing the traditional slash and burn method of farming. Let me welcome Honorable Victor Nagbe. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Mr. Gayman, how are you? It is good to be with you. Hope all is well. I hope you've been able to settle the little personal thing with the girls, but I sent you a text today. I think you probably missed that.
Yes, yes, I just read it.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the concern, but girls are very. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth here.
Don't go there. Let's just leave it there. All right.
Yeah, girls are very interesting people.
Yeah.
Especially when they are twins, they kind of tag team you.
Absolutely.
So it's not easy. Let me welcome Ahmed. How you doing, young man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. How yourself? How, Mr. Nagbe?
Hey, amen. There's a lot of reflection coming from your
Yeah,
lips.
Yeah,
I'm good. But
yeah.
the man is a holy man. He got the glow on his head. I mean, he's very very holy.
So I
Yeah,
got I got my I got my P on my head.
Yeah,
Philip,
I
you have
see.
said
You
I
you
got
are
my T
go
on my head.
Phillies. Go
You are
Phillies.
fairly
Yeah.
saying when was the last time the Phillies won anything?
Just last night. Just last
Last
night.
last
Right
time you
now,
won.
right now that we're on a 7-game winning streak away from home.
I see you in
Now,
October.
four away from home.
I want to see you in October, not
We can't.
August.
Hey, Red October, we're waiting. We're red hot. Right now, we're sitting on top of our division. The nearest team to us, which is the Mets, about 6 games behind. So, but let me welcome our guest. It is great to have you. Thanks for joining us. Please share the show and invite a friend. Lots of interesting topics today to go through. Yes, as you always do. Let's interact. Continue to give us your feedback in the comment section. But it's good to have you, man. Drive safely, my brother.
Yeah. I'm taking my time. I'll soon be at my destination, but in the meantime, I can still something. But yeah, I mean, as you rightly said, it's always good to have our guests, the most valuable component of the show. We ask that you kindly share the show, and of course, your feedback. Your feedback, man, provide very insightful motivation. Sometimes they become a little bit too critical on us, but it's all part of the game.
It's all part of the game.
It's all part of the game. I mean,
Amen.
if you can talk it, you must be able to accept it. So yeah,
That's right.
Listen, my phone was still ringing after I got home last night after the show. So I told the folks, don't call me at home. Call the show. The show is over. When the show ends,
No, but you know what? When you and I left, I didn't left earlier. When we left, Tomalin, Siafa, and I think Sylvester or someone else, they were on for almost an hour,
they
longer
were
than after we left.
duking it out.
Yeah,
It's
you
all
know,
right.
they sent out the little guys home, and then the big boys were on, having a good time.
Okay. So I don't know why the people didn't call them, but they were calling me. Welcome Coke Party. Watching from New Egypt, New Jersey. Wow, you got New Egypt too. You got New London. Now you got New Egypt. That's my
We
first time
do.
hearing that. New Egypt, New Jersey.
Actually, I've gone to New Egypt. That's where we have some one of the biggest farmers markets. We go there to get produce.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow. I lived in New Jersey from 1980 all the way to 1991. Never heard
I
of New
think
Egypt.
I think it is not of Trenton. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Let me welcome Samson Masare. Samson, how you doing there?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay, Mr. Gayman. Let me say hello to Mr. Namwe, Victor Namwe, and our guest for tonight.
What's
And
up, Samson? Good to have you, man.
yeah, same here. It's also good to be back here on Care Radio. We are live on Care Radio at the moment to scream the closing argument.
Excellent. Ahmed, you want to welcome our guests, our show, our listener on Care Radio. This is the second day.
yeah. I mean, Kia just came in time. It just provide our people access to information. I remember Bill Clinton when he became president of the United States. One of the things he emphasized was that America has evolved in the information age. And he said at that point, being at the tip of information, at the advantage of information, will propel America at a unstoppable excel. And so information is very, very important and critical. So to have the Kia radio station, a very credible media outlet, and the other Truth FM as well, airing closing argument where, of course, issues about Liberia are debated by experts. It's just good for our people. It's a major contribution to our democracy, because when the people have information, access to information, when they are informed, it helps them make the right decision on many other things, and also know how to demand of the government or what to expect. So we are just grateful to Kia Radio, and Masari. It's always good to have you. Welcome again. We know we are in this boat together, and eventually all of us will leave our footprint on the history of time. So it's good to have you. I know tonight we have a guest coming in, but I will leave that with the moderator of the century. Even when he comes on to perhaps do that, welcome and stuff like that.
Mr. Nagbe.
You said that grudgingly, Amen. What did you
No,
know?
the vice chairman of CMC, who is the moderator of the center.
Mr. Nagbe. They say when they praise you, you know what coming, right?
I know, right?
The closeted sedition.
You see.
The CMC seems to be making a very good mark when it comes to mobilization, especially with their youth leadership headed by Kevin. Kevin passed away. He's actually doing well when it comes to mobilization. I've been following the youth leadership. A couple of months ago, they started this recruitment process. They've been visiting market area, area like Douala, and he was also in my area of birth, Town, where he tried to rally the base. And the shocking one would be 2029 would be like actually people who are looking at but don't check is going to be serious, because when you see our people vote based on relationship, they based on how you carry yourself around them and how you talk to them. That's how they get rewarded during election time. And the youth leadership of CMC is doing extremely well, and I must admit, so far they are the only opposition institution or political party so far that started their recruitment process, followed by the ANC Youth Congress headed by Ali Ukali. The reason they were also in Maryland and Grand Chile. But the CMC is making scraps. I followed them also when they went in Grand Paso. They actually rallying the young people around my community, an area that seems to be a complete hostile to the United Party in a CDC base. I was shocked. The CMC team were there taking names down and recruiting, and most of their recruitment is based on, it's done around the young people, and that's a very strategic game. People should now overlook it.
Well, but you see, to be frank with you, early start is not a wrong thing. I'm speaking now as a panelist with any affiliation to a political party, but analyzing it. Early start is not a bad thing, because to be honest, between now and 2029, you will have more than you have close to 500,000 new voters entering the voting pool. If that will be qualified to vote. More than 1 million people, or close to 1 million people, will be qualified to vote. So some people just will be the first time, and so the sooner you start, especially with those people who just will be the first time coming to the race, they're committing to a political party. Once people commit to you by signing your form, most likely, not these regular politicians that jump from party to party, but the regular people, once they join early and they tend to take it their own, they want to see it win. They think, well, other parties have been existing. Let me start with the new one, so myself. So it's a good strategy. I think it's a good thing, and I think that's what happens with parties when they stay so long. They become complacent. They become with the notion that, look, we get it already. No, there's always new people coming in, and they become the ones that turn the elections around, the new voters. Because oftentimes, most of the old voters, one way or the other, they are already committed somehow, and so, or they get discouraged. So the new voters bring in a new energy, and I think that's a good strategy.
Sure.
Excellent. Let me work on.
Excellent. And thank you, something. I'm sorry, Jerome. I just wanted to to recognize that Samson is giving us an unbiased feedback. I think he's giving us in his capacity as a journalist. So I think that's very critical. And thanks for the feedback. And thanks to I think your knowledge you're putting on is pretty also helpful. We know we're a new party. We're starting behind the curveball, so we have a lot of work to do. We know that, and this kind of feedback is very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me welcome Honorable Josiah Tape Ware Jr. from Ganta City.
I hope you will tell us. I hope you will talk to us. I hope you will give us something about the by-elections. I haven't seen anything yet.
Well, he will come to. Let me go to the chief himself, the Bassa chief, Saint Tomalin George, King George, King George number one, King George I. How you doing, Chief?
Hey, good to see you, Mr. Gayman, Mr. Nagbe, Samson. Good to see you, Hamed.
What's up, Chief? What's up?
I listening to Samson. I can tell he I don't know how many elections he's not following Liberia, but
hey God, you gonna put it on. Let you. All right, go ahead.
The water hose now to real this man fire.
I remember 2011 when George Weah shut down Monrovia. He shut the city down. George Weah was on the he was on the how do you call it, the how do you call it stuff, man, the float. He shut down the city of Monrovia. CDC, there's nowhere you can find people. In fact, when CDC hosts a rally, it takes people hours to get home. And I see CNC making this stride with the stuff, the technology, and people saying, "Oh," but look, you will get to know the strength of this party's strength until when it comes to 2027, we'll start seeing it. You'll start seeing which where the direction of the party, the country is where it's heading. Right now, the Hammer said it's good to start early and recruiting people and so forth. Yeah. But again, it depends on the face of those. Everybody knows Musa ability. He's a household name in Liberian politics. But look at other officials of the party. That's important to find out whether these people can attract people to the party. How do you attract people to the party? If you get somebody toxic in our midst, trust me, people will just come and dare to when the Liberian people they learn new thing. They won't go through the Adidas funding, get t-shirt way. But trust me, when
I think I should welcome our guests, man.
I meant stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. I meant stay in your lane. Keep your eyes on the road.
You want to jump the gun? So yeah. So you see.
So are you saying Mr. Nagbe and Gayman they are toxic? Because what do you mean?
You see.
I'm surprised that Mr. Nagbe and Mr. Gayman, but these are veterans. Especially Mr. Nagbe, he's a veteran politician, and to fall for these early stuff, and I don't know, but I think you should start to weigh in maybe 2026 ending 2027, because when the other parties start to show their face and start to form and getting into their formative stage and so forth, and getting to that point, you're going to see the test. Because honestly, the biggest thing you need those who will propagate the message. Okay, if people who propagate the message, who will be out there making the case for the various parties. Like I said, for me, I learned a lot of lesson. I'm not going to be the one to jump the parties so quick anymore again. I learned my lesson a lot now. We'll continue to just be in the middle and see what happens. But at the end of the day, 2028, maybe that time, people will have to will take the side, the various sides. But right now, CMC is doing what they need to do. They are recruiting, they are spreading the wings all over the place. They are trying to establish various cells, which is the good thing they're doing. But again, they can sustain. The thing about politics in Liberia, sustain that momentum, sustain that effort for the next 2 to 3 years. If you can sustain it, then I think, But again, mind you, Liberian politics is full of deception, and you won't believe it. Somebody think you say, "Oh, went to that rally, we ate a food, we wear a t-shirt about."
And at the same trend, that's the same trend the ANC's came from around 2017. The ANC had a very good mobilization team led by one of the Taiwan then. But then they went into the election. They accumulated 136,000 votes, 2017. And then 2023 was bad.
That election there, I would not give that election 2023 credit. They're not fair election. There's no way comes God 1%. No way. They medical what you mean?
Appeto.
Election was a joke. Yo, Mr. Gayman, take your show. Welcome to guest. That guy going. Because that election was a
Welcome.
joke.
That's true. And you're right. Let's move on. But
Yes.
thank you. Let's go on. We'll have time to talk about this.
Our guest, if you are on Care Radio or you are on Hot FM or True FM, we say welcome. We have a great guest, brilliant. We're going to ask him for his job description. What was his legacy? What can he do for this government? Even though he's from the other side, but at least we all can we can chime in. Let me welcome our guest, Alton. I like that name. Welcome to our guests to the show, Care Radio, and the rest of the radio station, our friends that are watching. How are you doing, young man?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here tonight to share with you my experiences at the Ministry of Education and what can be done to help improve education in Liberia. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. For those of us who don't know you, briefly, I'm going to say, Mr. Kessler, you're the former Deputy Minister of Education for Planning, Research, and Development under the past government. For those who don't know you, could you introduce yourself? So we can get to know you a little more.
So I'm Alton Kessler. I was the Deputy Minister for Planning, Research, and Development, Ministry of Education from 2018 to 2023. In my education background, I have a BSc in physics, a master in astrophysics, another master in mathematical sciences, and a master in applied mathematics. Since 2019, I've been involved with data science, machine, and deep learning. Spent some time at George Washington University, Washington, D.C., and spent most of the time doing personal studies, online studies, reading books. So that's Alton Kessler in a nutshell.
Ladies and gentlemen of Liberian astrophysics, we are talking real deal. Now, for those of you, Mr. Nagbe, before we go to our guest, in politics, there's something I know Bill Clinton taught this when I was part of his campaign team. He said the worst thing that can happen to any campaign or any candidate is allowing your opposition to define who you are. It's like putting your feet in cement. Sooner or later, it's going to harden. You can't get out. Can you imagine the folks were saying the sedition were the least educated group of folks running government? And you have this resume this man just read is very, very unique. I've never seen this resume. But yet and still, we didn't take the time to profile and celebrate our own. Mr. Nagbe, your guest.
Yeah, I'm in awe. I'll be honest with you. He looks very young, and yet his resume really reads a lot of accomplishments. Astrophysics, applied mathematician. That is. Let me just welcome you, my brother. It's good to have you on set, and welcome to the closing argument. I know you may have chosen on purpose to leave that part of the introduction out, but do care to tell us a little bit about your family life? And then I know we'll hear about the professional part of it, but sometimes, I like to humanize our guests, and there's some ladies here already who want to know whether you're already taking or not. I will not call their names, but
So I'm not married yet.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So I'm not
Okay.
married yet.
All right. All
Yeah.
right.
So that's so far so good. But when
Okay.
you have specific question, you can ask.
All
excellent.
right. Well,
Let-
welcome to the set. I will come around and let me let the other guys go.
Let me welcome Johnny, my favorite man from Lofa County. How you doing there, Chief?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for the smile. And
Johnny, welcome.
Let me
thank you.
let me welcome Seleke Kromah, our intern, our student up and coming politician in Kigali. How you doing there, young man?
Hey, my favorite moderator, how you doing, Mr. Gayman?
How you doing there? How's Kigali?
I will strenuously disagree with you.
How is CMC doing?
Listen, man. You know what they say in Liberia, talk your own. You belong to the ANC, still with your ANC story. Don't talk about
No, I
CMC.
don't know how the CMC doing. I don't know.
Guys, let us welcome our guest, Mr. Kehleboe. Mr. Kehleboe has a very, very unique resume, one I have never seen before in our Liberian context. He served as Deputy Minister for Planning, Research, and Development. We are honored to have, not only to have him, but to celebrate one of our own. This is a resume that the closer I got into astrophysics or anything was when I was a member of the astronomical club. I get my telescope and I go watch the stargazing. That was my closest. So we got a great guy here from the Department of Education. We will take turn to ask a few questions. Let's start with one question each first. Mr. Nagbe, let me start with you.
All right. Thank you very much again, Mr. Gayman. Mr. Kehleboe, can you just describe to us briefly what your functions, the Minister of Education was? Just kind of brief summary.
Thank you so much. So, as the head for the Department of Planning, Research, and Development, Ministry of Education, I was the custodian of the education plan and policies. It was my job to ensure that we periodically review the plans, look at policy, derive new one, modify what is already existed, and to make sure that these policies and plans are in line with the national development objective of the Republic of Liberia. That's one. I was responsible to supervise the planning of infrastructure for academic activities, school buildings, academic institutions, come up with standards for what should constitute a school building in Liberia, ensure that these schools are conducive with the necessary things like wash facilities. I was responsible for the Education Information Management System, image, statistics, and data for education. It was my duty to lead a team to ensure that we have current statistics on education in Liberia, all of the indicators, whether it's the gross enrollment ratio, is the net enrollment ratio, is the number of students enrolled with their appropriate ages, whether we have over age, whether they are students with disability. It was my duty to make sure we have those statistics, so those statistics can be used to inform policy. I spearheaded the development, the review, the revision, pilot testing of the national curriculum. It was my duty to make sure that our curriculum is in line with current realities. I serve as the principal liaison between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Finance, Development Planning, and everyone, every institution, whether domestic or external, that was funding education in Liberia. I was responsible to prepare the Ministry of Education annual reports and annual budget. And I was also responsible, I served as the clearinghouse for education development activities. It means whatever education development activities for the Republic of Liberia, they have to pass through my revision. I have to look at and make sure it's in line with our plans, follow policy, set and policy, and so forth. So to give you a clear idea on how it look like, I have one bureau under my leadership, and that was the Bureau of Planning, Research and Development, headed by an assistant minister. And the bureau have five divisions. So you have the division of planning and M&E. So responsible for planning and M&E. You have the division for policy evaluation. You have the division for image, statistics, and data. You have education funding and project development. And then you have the physical environment. That was civil engineers and architects. Yeah, so in the nutshell, that was my function.
Yeah, that's quite a lot. But thank you very much, and I will pass you on quick. Let me ask you: can you talk to us a little bit about the national curriculum of the Republic of Liberia? I mean, I know here in New Jersey, the curriculum is graduated in stages, right? At the end of, say, grade 3, students are expected to know these skills. At the end of grade 6, they're expected to know these skills. At the end of, say, by the time they get to grade 8, as they're leaving grade 8, going to grade 9, going to high school, they're supposed to have these skills. And then by the time they graduate high school, they're supposed to master these skills. Do we have any such benchmarks in the curriculum in the Republic of Liberia?
Yes, indeed. Indeed, we do have those benchmarks. In fact, what we did was we inherited a curriculum that was simply based on the usual learning. Go to class, sit in the class, the teacher teach you and you learn. We decided to make it a competent-based curriculum. So we ensure that you acquire other skills that will enable you to have a livelihood. That's one of the things. Another thing we observed was even some years, I think, I don't know the exact year, but maybe since 2011, when we stopped having examination for 6th grade and 9th grader. So you have a situation in Liberia, the first set of, external exam, public exam, you do it at the 9th grade and the 12th grade. And so what was happening was that you take 12 years of learning if you include the ECE. If you include the ECE, that's early childhood education, that is the 19 years of learning, including 9 more years of learning. So you take 12 years to have an external exam.
Okay.
And so when you have the external exam and you get your result and the results are not well, there are a lot of problems there.
Right.
For the essence of these external exams were two reasons. You have two reasons, broad reasons I can think of. One could be to see if the students are actually learning.
Right. And that's where we're going. So as ambassador,
so
I know
you get into it. Yeah, but the most important one,
I know there'll be a lot of questions coming up, and I want to just give you're doing great. I just wanted to say thank you. As ambassador, let me just quickly, and you can roll this all into the next question you will answer. I know when I was in school in Monrovia, we used to eat a book. Basically, what it was regurgitate, throughout whatever the teacher gave us. But today, everybody's, emphasizing inquiry-based learning. The student understand the why behind why they're learning the concept. It makes it easier for them to master it. So, and therefore, they themselves, they can expand on that and not just give back what the teacher is giving them. Was that it? Was that your experience at the ministry? Is that what you met, or did you try to tilt the curriculum towards that? You're muted.
Thank you. So that is not what we met, but that is what we try to achieve.
Okay.
So as I was saying, so another very important reason for this external exam is also to evaluate the system. Imagine the student go through school, learn the curriculum, go through the school, pass very well in their school, and then on external exam, they perform poorly. It simply means, in most instances, it means the education system is have a problem. So you reevaluate your teaching mentor, the competence of your teachers, and the rest of it. So we had a situation where you were taking 12 years to evaluate students. And so if somebody is already in the 9th grade, you evaluate them and you find out they have a problem, how can you solve it? So one of the things we did was we ensured that we developed a learning assessment, national learning assessment policy. We developed that, and then we instituted examination at the 3rd and 6th grade level. So that was a major achievement on our part.
Thank you very much again. It is great to have you, man. Great conversation. Back to you, Jerome.
Excellent. Johnny.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Gilman. Mr. Cassidy, right? What's your phone name, please?
Alton Cassidy.
Oh, Alton Cassidy. Okay. Okay. So thank you for Vani Cassidy. Okay. So thank you for accepting to come on the show and exchange idea and help our Liberian population to also understand from your perspective our educational system. My initial question I would like to find out from you firstly is how long did you serve in the capacity as assistant minister? Do you say assistant or deputy minister?
Deputy minister.
How long did you serve in that capacity for research and planning?
The entirety of CDC government, 6 years.
Okay, so when you took over as the deputy minister for research and planning under the Ministry of Education, what was the baseline? What did you inherit in terms of education that was in the education system that was administered by the previous regime? What did you see that you will see as your baseline? So that then because all the next question would be after your 6 years, what are those indicators that you set to be out of the milestone that you have set on the 6 year that you hope to achieve?
That's a very brilliant question. Thank you so much. So if you all can recall, on August 29, 2013, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf referred to the education system as a mess. If you all can recall, she referred to it as a mess. And that was in response to 25,000 students, all of the 25,000 students that sat the entrance, University of Liberia entrance exam failed. Let's just pause and think for a while. Try to imagine if there have ever been a situation anywhere, anytime in history of mankind, where every student has sat for a university entrance failed. That was the situation. Perfect. So when we were appointed in 2018, we decided to check and see. This was 2013. So we gone another 5 years. What happened? So as it is natural, where do you check first? You look at the 10 over note that was 10 over to us from the previous regime. I hope all of you have access to that 10 over note to read it. But I will show you one thing in the 10 over note. Let me find it so probably I don't make a mistake in quoting it. It's in section D, key issues, item 2, policy issues. When cleaning the system of ghost teachers through payroll vetting, we also tested each teacher. We set a bar of 70% for fully qualified, 40 to 70% as required training, and under 40% as poly-literate. In the first 10 counties, we found 4,487 teachers score below 40%.
What was the number?
4,487 teachers score below 40%. 827 teachers score below 20%. 370 teachers score below 15%. So when we read this, the first thing we thought is this some of the exam I was taking as a student of astrophysics that was being given to our teachers. So we summoned the guys who were involved with the test. They were staying in the ministry. They were what we call the EDU, Education Delivery Unit. And when they came and brought the test and explained to us, the test was the test that is meant for an eighth grade student. 8. not high school student, junior high student test was given. Now you think for once. Think for once. If you have that number of teachers so unqualified, when teachers should be the bedrock, the foundation of training students, how do you think you can ever produce competent students? That is the 10-hour note. All of you are free to look in the 10-hour note. As I come here to now, I will try my possible best to avoid CDC administration documents. I will deal with the documents Unity Party-led government turn over to us. So you think about it, that was the situation we had. So what did we do? We said, okay, you know what? We do. Sometimes, probably these are, but then let me read another one. Another one said, in the same 10-hour note, our system is in short by more than 6,000 teachers. Around 5,000 more teachers currently working in the system are working as volunteers. And 1,000 more are salaries below what is legally required. That's the 10-hour note from the Unity Party-led government we had. Now, so sometimes when I sit and I listen to people, particular supporters of the Unity Party-led government, creating the impression that they turn over to the CDC-led government of functional education system, I really wonder whether they have read the documents. I can show you documents to read. Go and read the education sector analysis of 2016. Go read the Joint Education Sector Review documents that were turned over. Just check between anything before 2018 Joint Education Sector Review. That is a forum where every stakeholder meet, every stakeholder of education meet, and there is a report. It meant to review the education sector plan, to see what the challenges are, to see if we can do some amendment, and if we can take advantage of what was already working. Read the documents and see what we're written. You can look at the statistical reports. You can look at the local education group minutes. You can look at the ELDC, that is Education Sector Development Committee minutes, and see the council thing we inherited. So what did we do? After reading all of these documents, in fact, some of the claiming the document, you have Liberia officially have the second worst out of school children numbers in the world, only better than South Sudan. 65% of school-age children are out of school. 170,000 children are of age 6 to 14 are out of school. 74.7% of ECE students are over age. So that is the nutshell of what we inherited. So we decided to take a counted tour. So maybe sometimes these things are written maybe to create a situation where donors will be excited to put in money. Maybe that's not the reality. So we decided to take a counted tour. So we distributed the ministers around the country and went on a counted tour. We got on the counted tour, and what we saw will make you to cry. You have an issue. Let me just check my note quickly to just highlight a few of the issues that we encountered on our counted tour. Like I said, there was shortage of teachers, so that's already in the 10-hour note, so it was not surprising. You needed for just public school, you needed additional 6,200 teachers. You have another 6,300 unqualified teachers. You have overcrowded classes, poor wash, and we have the numbers here. So as we go further, I can give you the breakdown. I can reference you to the documents where you have over 50% of our schools are in mischief. Where you have over 30% of our schools have no wash facility of any kind. Okay, logistics insufficient, no vehicle, no equipment for monitoring and supervision of schools. You did not even
Mr. Gayman? Mr. Gayman?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I mean, so now you have just given off a secondary baseline for where you got, and I guess what you're into now is you're collecting a primary data now to confirm the baseline that you have, right?
So what I want to do is let me just, so that we can have a situation where there will be repetition of the same question. So let me just lay the basis on what we inherited what we did.
Okay.
And then I will give you the detail. And then if you want the detail, you can ask me. Okay, so
All right.
structure. We have a serious issue with gender enrollment. We found a situation that very few. So you have a situation where at the low level you have gender parity. You have like almost equal number of boys and girls in school. But when you get at the high school level, a lot of girls were dropping. That was an issue we encountered. Another issue we encountered was lack of teaching and learning materials. Another issue we encountered was no leadership. In fact, we found out that there have been no program of providing training for leadership. So you go to our training institutions, people don't train school leadership. So that was the issue of school feeding was another issue. And then the bigger one was the problem with stakeholders. So as we all know, if you've been in the education sector, you know the importance of stakeholder, the PTA. The PTA, very important. The teachers, very important. So everybody have to work together. The students come to school, the students spend most of the time out of school, so you have to have a stakeholder. But there's a major issue going on in Liberia. We had a partnership school for Liberia, and I hope we have the time to discuss that. It's a long problem, but we were basically taking our public schools out to private group. Private group generate some form of money from donors, come and run these schools. And I can go into what was wrong. So let me just give you some of the basic problems. So it was pilot testing. It was meant to be pilot testing for about 3 years. So the donors will keep providing the money, and the donor will complete finance the project if the funnel is working. And the argument was, you need $100 United States to educate your Liberian child. As things stand, only $50 were available. And that $50 was government providing the schools, paying the teachers, having the school administrator. So in order to have the learning material, doing the monitoring, there was need for additional $50. So donors were had to provide. The donors were told that if we give all this money, we're going to make sure that the student learning outcome will improve. So a baseline was done to show how terrible student learning outcomes were. And then in order to achieve that, these partnership schools have to have certain standards. For example, they have to insist on a fixed number of students in your class. Now you think about it. Let's go to Lofa County. Think about one of your villages where you have a single school. You have many students coming to the school, and you give it to a private partner that says, I'm only going to teach 35 students. Where are the rest of the students to go? That's not all. They begin to pick among the students to select the brilliant one so that they can perform well on this exam so that the donors can send money in. Second, they decided to have the best of teachers. So they started redeploying teachers. So the community got angry. The teacher association got angry. And coupled with this exam results, that the teacher association said it's impossible. Their teachers cannot be that door. That it was only meant, these exams were only meant to get donor funding. So there was a lot of noise in the country when we took over. So that was one of the things we encountered. So what's the first thing we did? The first thing we did was we called a National Education Summit. So yes, we called a National Education Summit. I'm going to find the exact time. No, I've been on the administration for a while, so just bear with me. Okay, so May 21st.
I think it was in Kakata, eh?
Yes, May 21st to 2023, 2018, we called an education summit. And what did we do? We invited everyone, our predecessors, and every education stakeholder. Something we are so surprised. On the municipal government, nobody is talking to us. But what we did was, we believe that education is everybody's issue. It affects all of us, and it should be depoliticized. So we invited everybody. At the Education Summit, over 300 stakeholders gathered at BWR, and there we came up with our first action plan. And we can go into the detail of what the action plan were. We look at teacher development, we look at school management, we look at curriculum reform, we look at equip infrastructure, and we decided to do. What did we do? Let me just go list of some of the things we did before we left. We defined clear indicators, tools to measure, to have, so you can, because you see in Liberia, we normally, education is bad, education is good, the school is better. If you really ask people, what do you mean? probably go to wire result. But education is more than wire result, because sometimes it takes years. You have indicators. So we set up clear indicators, the tools, the data collection tools, the monitoring tools. We strengthen learning assessment. Like I said, we introduce the third grade and sixth grade exams. We ensure that we have our assessment policy. We design our standard leadership training and make it part of teacher education, that you do a leadership training. We provided equipment for monitoring. So before then, the county education officers, most of them never have means of mobility. We give each of them or Land Cruiser, which is brand new. We make sure that we provide a lot of motorbikes to almost every district education officer and staff in their office. We revised a teacher training curriculum for pre-service and in-service. We did that. We introduced, we rehabilitated and we provided school grants to schools. All of the 156 public schools, public secondary schools that were identified when we did our own analysis were giving school grant to renovate their school and get some of them got chairs and the rest of that. We improved the wash facility in several schools. There was a point in time that we did 200 schools wash facilities. We began introducing, that was in the procurement stage and everything when we left. We got smart buses. We did education technology, even at both Torgbean University and University of Liberia. We introduced that for training. School feeding. We worked with WFP, around $50 million for school feeding. We work with Save the Children through the U.S. Department of Agriculture. We got around another $50 million for school feeding. We have merit meals and the rest of them. So we introduce school feeding because we all know the importance of school feeding. We know to retain students in school, especially given our own situation. School feeding is very important. So as I said, there was issue with girls enrollment. One of the things we did was we identified some of the issues. So we decided to provide scholarship to girls. We started with 3,000 girls. And we decided to train, recruit, train, and deploy 200 guardian counselors to every secondary school in the Republic of Liberia, public secondary school, so that we can set the basis, so that we use it as a means to insist that the private school do the same. We did a complete education sector analysis that led to us doing a new education sector plan, 2022-2027. I hope if any of you don't have those plans, please try and get it. It's comprehensively done. It identifies the major issues like and it provides the solutions. All you need to do is cost it. The operational plan is rating. We did that. We did the statistics because that was another challenge we inherited. When we took over the ministry from 2015, there have been no annual school census carried up. So we did the annual school census. We did 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022. We're in the process of doing 2023 when we have to get ourselves involved with election and the rest of it, because to do these things, like I said, we had a major donor engagement. We were leadership of the ministry that believe in collaboration. So we don't just go ahead implement anything. We have engagement with our stakeholders, particularly the donors. So that was some of the challenge we have. And during the COVID was another challenging time for us, but we were able to adequately handle the COVID. We kept students out of school for the minimum time you could have. We make sure we supply the necessary things needed to return to school in a safe environment. We did that. We make sure that students were learning on radio. We did that. Yeah, so I could just stop there, but we did a lot. Yeah, so I will stop there. If there's any detail, there's anything specific I have not remember. Okay, another major thing we did was free. Okay, another important thing was the wire, which all of you know about. We know that we decided to make sure that we take care of the wire fee for our students, and most importantly, we make public higher institutions of learning free. Hopefully, you guys will have the time to ask all the questions about
Yes.
what the idea behind that. while we did it, and I will provide the best info I can provide. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was very detailed, and I was taking note myself. We talk. I noticed the gender parity, the gender disparity. Look at 50% of the school was basically makeshift. So here we say competent-based curriculum you introduce.
Yeah.
40% of the total number of teachers fail the 8th grade standardized tests. 4,487 score below 40. Let me go to Ahmed. Mr. Fofana.
Before Ahmed.
Are you be here before me? The show.
I'm just joining the show.
Is that how you're counting? Is that how you're counting Kigali?
I'm being a little longer, Sneaky, but I'll leave it at Jerome.
The man in Kigali. That's how they count.
I would give him the chance to ask the minister. Go ahead. Let the ANC board go ahead. I will come later.
Thank you, because I CDC minister. So
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but thanks. And I just want to recognize my dear brother, Kia from Kigali, commonly known as PRO. He's following the show from way here in Rwanda, even though it's almost morning hour. I just want to recognize you, brother. Thanks for watching. And yeah, Mr. Alton, I don't know if that's your name. Okay, so
that last name is Kesali.
Yeah, I'm not saying his last name or his name. That's why the Alton name I'm saying. So basically, Mr. Johnny asked you some questions regarding some of the things you guys did that you can count on as a success, and you started naming, the mentorship program that you implemented to mentor high school students, and the feelings program, which you said donors, supported and all of that. But this seems more like having it on paper than, for me, I see it like a IMF or World Bank report that will come and only be on paper, but not being reflected on the lives of the people. So, who are the beneficiaries of those different, policies you're talking about? Because I was in Liberia for the last 6 years doing the CDC administration, and bulk of the government schools, especially in Montserrat, we didn't see the things that you're talking about, like feeling programs going on in different high school or public schools, and then students having opportunity where they can have mentors and all of that. And secondly, I want you to address this. We've seen the failure from national government to kind of intervene in the increment of school fees, especially when it comes to private schools. Somebody can just go and increase their school fees every academic year. Even to sell an information sheet from your institution, you want to sell that to the public. And I can tell you that I experienced it recently. My little brother texts me that, school is about to open. And then I asked him, where is the information sheet? They say they sell the information sheet. I say, how much? And he's telling me that $5, which is like $1,000 Liberian dollars, and this is normal in Liberia. Every year the private schools, they increase the school fees, and the government seems like they don't even have a policy in place where they can regulate all the different issues that people are facing. But back to the first question that I asked you, who are the beneficiaries of those different policies? Or you guys were living, you created those policies and just have it on paper and read it instead of the people themselves benefiting from it? So I would just like to know more about that.
Thank you, Seleke. So Seleke, these are not theories as you think they are. So I will give you the opportunity to do your own research. So let me just call some numbers to you. So under the World Bank ADA project, the RDA, what you call improving results in secondary education. I think you heard about it. There have been a lot of noise around when the school were dedicated. It's $47 million. Those schools, those 3 model schools, were meant to be school for STEM. That's just portion of it. You can go, the report is at the World Bank, because the World Bank projects, they are managed, they are scrutinized. There is a TTL that supervise those projects step by step. So you will see that under that project, 200 guiding counselors were placed in all secondary schools. Under that project, money was given for school renovation. Every public school in the Republic of Liberia, 156 were renovated. So what you do, just take your time. Let me read some numbers to you. The TVET program, we make sure that over 11 schools, TVET schools, are equipped. Teachers were trained. Over 100 teachers were sent abroad to be trained. You know, I don't have the time to just read everything out to you. Over 100 hours around. Go to BWR, go to Torgbean, go to Kehleboe, go to Sando. In fact, our plan was to make sure that every country has a TVET institution. And we succeeded in getting the remaining of the money from the EU, and we left. Okay. School feeding. RWFP, $50.2 million, 447 schools, 111,026 beneficiaries. So I will just state it. For me, I'm not here to argue, to debate. I will show you the references. You can go and find out your references. Whenever you find out I'm wrong, call me back. Okay. Save the Children, 30 million. That's the U.S. Department of Agriculture. You just Google. Just Google this thing I'm saying. Just Google them. Save the Children benefited 220 schools, 40,000 beneficiaries. Mary Mills, $7 million, 512 schools, 114,141 beneficiaries. Zoe, U.S., 782,000, 21 schools, 3,000 beneficiaries. That's for that. Dubai Care for site. We can explain that about inclusive education. For site, about 2 million. You have the Netherlands, some technical school. They work with us on $200,000 to develop our TVET curriculum, where you will include personal health, hygiene, and the rest of it. The GPE, that's the Global Partnership for Education. Capacity grant, 2.2 million. That was we just received that before leaving. So that have been used in recent time. If you look around, you see Ministry of Education doing data, doing training of the data collectors. System transformation grant, that was another one. We spent about 2 years working with the Global Partnership for Education to get into a compact. So that's another thing you can Google. Compact, MOE, Ministry of Education, compact with the GPE. You have to enter a compact. You have to explain to the GPE, because GPE issue was we have spent so much money on Liberia. The results we then getting is not as satisfactory as we wanted. Can we target? Can we just go? Let's not start spreading our wing all over. Let's target. Let's find what single things that we can improve. It will have some effect on improving the rest of the system. So we have to get into a compact with them. We have to explain to them what we wanted. So we talk about foundational learning, and we discuss data and evidence. It was some of the things. The USAID, before USAID left, over 261 million. So some of the projects that were being done was the education system strengthening. That was around 23.5 million. That was meant to do data, to do the financial system of the ministry, how you can be accountability and data. We had a test that was for teacher and student training teachers. That was around 25 million. And then we have the LFSA. Something was like foundational learning, that was around $75 million. So I can go on and on listening to this thing, but I don't want to be. I'm sitting on the platform, so it could be a CDC former official is saying something. You have the opportunity to check your references. I'm utterly shocked if you say you didn't see anything happening. Things were happening, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, and we can go into the statistics, you will realize that as much as we did so much was needed to be, so much is still needed to be done. And you can understand, you should be able to understand from what the bases are laid. I tell you point blank clear, look at, if you have, forget about everything else, the cornerstone of education is the teachers. If you have very good teachers, you can learn on a tree. If you have very good teachers, you can learn with a computer. You have a situation where there was no good teacher according to unity party-led government. So that's the situation inherited. So you may not see overnight change, but we're heading in the right direction. You raised another major issue, and that was one major issue that I have to confront at the Ministry of Education: the issue of private school. So if you look at our statistics, more Liberian students are in private school than public school. And even with the public school we have, they are all crowded. You know, sometimes I even have a joke sometimes with people. So the way I use an example to tell people how people don't even understand education is. When you hear people say, oh, Atom, the government school is bad. Government officials are not sending their children to government school. So I laugh. I say, you don't even understand what you're saying. We are begging anybody who can afford, please take your children out of government school and make the space available for those who can afford. That's what we beg, because we don't have enough space. So imagine a government put their children in, are they not taking space for people who can afford? So think about that logic. So go to Torgbean High, go to any public school and see if it has spaces there. They are all crowded. And our constitution is clear. The government is to provide education for people. So the reality we have to face is that the private school is assisting us. They are assisting us. We don't have the capability to absorb Liberian students. So in that case, it is a bigger have no choice. So all we could do, and that's what we try doing. The first thing we devise a policy, and we have it part of our curriculum. In the policy, we said, if you're going to charge a fee, you must justify the charge on the fee. If you charge students that you have computer lab in your school, computer lab should be there. So all we could do was to have this stakeholder meeting and keep engaging the donors, because look, whether you like it or not, education should be a public goods. But education sometimes is also profitable. It's a business. The private schools are doing business. And let me just give you another thing that people don't realize. The government of Liberia is paying better teachers than private school. So if you have a C certificate, you make more than $150 US. If you got a B certificate, around 200 and something. If you have a BSc, you make around 300 and some more dollars. Do you know how many time we have in the Cali school system that they want to shut down? Because they have to use their students' tuition to pay their teachers. Not just do take a piece of paper and do the analysis and see how much they will need to charge a student. They will need to charge a lot. You understand? They will need to charge a lot. So sometimes they're charging too much. Yeah, it's saying too much. But if you really do the analysis and realize what the private school have to do, in many other societies, government provides subsidies. We're not capable of providing subsidies, whether we like it or not, because even our own schools are in dire needs. And the charity should begin at home. So all I can advise the current Ministry of Education, you just need to keep having the dialogues, and you need to keep creating more spaces, qualify your teachers. If you reach a stage where you have the capacity to exhaust students, then you can start making demands. That's what I was talking.
Thank you. Let me go to Seleke Fofana.
Yeah, I mean, Minister, to be honest, some of the numbers, financial numbers that you call, I mean, to know that we have spent that amount of money in our system is shocking. I mean, generally, but but what is even most shocking to me was the excerpt you read from those 10 over notes, that our teachers could not pass an eighth grade aptitude test. I mean, so I don't really know what I was teaching. So that was what you inherited. To summarize it, we knew Madam Selly war a mess. How did you leave it? What did you turn over in terms of a response to that mess? What did you really leave? What did, in your own turnover note, what did you give to the Unity Party to take from there and build on?
So our turnover note is there, so you can read it. So our listing, so on the intervention we did, and one of the major things you can go look at the wire results in our 2022 JESR, Joint Education Center Review. The wire boss presented wire result comparative basis. You want me? I can find out for you and just read some numbers so you can see the massive difference I was done with the CDC level government. But Sidiki, before President Seleke could even say education is a mess, do you know how much donor has spent on education? Let me give a common example. There's something called Liberia Teacher Training Program. That was a USAID program from 2006 to 2010. Ask everybody. Over 200.
Yeah, that was the LTTP program.
You know about it? Debe, over 200 United States, 200 million United States dollars was spent. After spending it, earning nothing of first 10. So I just want you to understand the complexity of education in Liberia, and we can get into that. Nothing earning first 10. The second year in your second 10 is when after spending that just USAID TTP money. There were many other donors, World Bank, the rest of them. So much money was spent. Over 500 million was spent. And at the end of the day, any core education a mess. That just tell you that Liberia education system, yeah, money is a major issue. But it's not just throwing money at the problem that's going to solve it. There are other fundamental issues.
Great.
Oh,
Let me ask you real quick, sir. Who these numbers you are throwing here? Who were the fiscal agents?
I don't understand what you mean fiscal agent.
Who were disbursing these monies and who were accounting for them?
So donor money, the donors are accountable. So one of the things the donors do for us Liberia is that before the projects are implemented, the donors send a team to evaluate your capacity to be able to account for this money, accountability, your financial system, and your day. So because of that, every project, even when we're leaving, even the one that we left, the SF project, that's close to $100 million that we brought to the system before leaving. Even that project, up to that time, the donors will always insist for whatever reason. And I think for me, yes, we may have capacity issues, we may have other issues, but I think it's another way for the donor themselves to benefit from this money. So they always insist that they should manage the resources. So every donor funded project like that is managed by the donors. There are steps. In fact, there's something called the PFNU, or the Ministry of Finance, the World Bank paying them for World Bank projects. The EU projects, UNIDO is carrying all the project. So these money are accounted for. The donors make sure these money are accounted for.
So a quick question, just by numbers, how many schools you built, you left? How many schools altogether you constructed around the country?
You are muted.
I cannot give you all the school of here, but the documents are available. I can tell you that the 3 model school that we're constructing, we're nearly completing them. The one in Banga, the one in Nima, the one in Kakata. 27 high school. We're expanding 27 junior high to high school. Because what we did, when we did our analysis, we realized that there were 27 educational districts that didn't have a high school. So we decided to do that. So that was one of the things we did. And then we spent most of the time renovating school. For ECE, we built so many ECE centers. I show close to 30, if I can get my number. Then through another project called Liberia Learning Foundation, we also build a lot of ECE schools. But the documents are available. Whenever you have the time, we can share with you. So we did as much as we could to make sure that we have as many schools as we can, given the resources we have.
Excellent. Let me go to Johnny. Then after Johnny, we'll bring in our new guest, our new host, Mr. Anthony Gay Sr., the incoming senator for Grand Jita County. Go ahead, Johnny.
Okay, thank you, Kesali. Thank you for providing the baseline information and what you also did to confirm and what you received as baseline by collecting your own primary data. So I'm looking at the Teacher Training Education Center, the TTR, it's also Teacher Training Institute, Kakata, and Webo, the one in the Southeast. And the second part of that is, what was the government's own budget running from 2018 up to 2023, and comparing the budget of that to that you inherited, and how did you improve the system?
Yeah, so the budget we inherited is almost similar to the budget that we had. Okay. But you have to take things into context. So when the war ended, there was a lot of international organizations providing a lot of support. I can give a common example. You have the army in Liberia until we came over. So when we took over, we had so many pressing needs. So it would be very unreasonable. I was responsible for budget. And I did the analysis. I do all of this statistical analysis. It would have been very much impossible to get as much money as we wanted. And we can start doing the analysis here. Many of you complain, oh, teachers have been underpaid. Yeah, we have 13,000 teachers. Between 13 to 16,000 teachers are on payroll. On the average, they are making $200 on the average. If you check the number of schools in the country, again, let me find that number quick for you. Just give me 1 minute. I can get that number quickly for you right now. Let me get that number quickly for you.
While he's looking for the number, guys, please share this show. Let me welcome Anthony Gay. Mr. Gay, how you doing there, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, and good evening to all the panelists and now listening audience and viewer as well on the social media.
How is the CMC? I mean, how is the ANC doing?
ANC is doing fantastic. We're about to go to a convention in October in Atlanta, and to set up their diaspora base, and Liberia convention will also take place subsequently. So definitely, the ANC is doing extremely well.
Excellent, excellent.
Can I ask you a question, Mr. Gay?
Yes, sir.
Hey,
You know, Mr. Gayman,
yes.
Mr. Gayman, I hear, with CMC, we put it on our Facebook. I haven't heard you congratulate Mr. Kromah since he won his position in Rwanda, even though both of you are here.
No, we can talk privately. No, the people had it on the show, so don't do that.
Hey, man. Hey, let me say it popularly. Congratulations again, young brother.
Thank you.
For claiming the VP seat in Rwanda.
Thank you.
So you vice president to Paul Kagame?
No, come on. Student union team we're talking about. The Liberia student union in Rwanda. The Liberia student union in Rwanda.
Just kidding. But Mr. Cassidy, when you're ready, let us know.
Yeah. So that will be small. Okay.
Yeah. So, Seleke, while we're waiting, I hope some of what is happening in Rwanda, the ANC can, through you, can let it rub off and bring some of that to LIB, and let's improve our country.
Yeah, before you answer that,
but hopefully, Mr. Nagbe.
Okay, Johnny.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were talking a gender issue here, and today we are seeing here, according to the statistics, it looks like we are doing well when it comes to gender parity in early education, from the K to maybe 5th grade. But once we're getting up to middle and high school, then the disparity is evident that there are more men, women drop out. What do you think would be the cause of that?
Firstly, that information has been consistent for the last almost like 20 or more years. It has been that history for Liberia education system. And I mean, there are many factors, right? One of the factors is reproductive health. So you realize that most of our girls, our children, by the time the female students, when they hit around 6th, 7th grade, they are around 15, 16 years old. And that's the period for reproduction. So a lot of it is around that and around reproduction. So you see, they tell you got teenage pregnancy. And most of the statistics on Liberia over the last 20 plus years has always been around reason for it being teenage pregnancy, for having the young girls away from school. And most up to now, you go to high school now from 9th to 10th grade, you will find less female students with more male students. So I think one reason for that have been teenage pregnancy.
Mr. Nagbe, we were talking about culture yesterday. Let's delve into the culture of our people when they are saying, you're not a rich woman, or you are a full-grown woman, not when she's of age, but when she reaches puberty. The forced marriage, arranged marriages, dowry, and all of these things have an impact. You're an educator. Give us an education on why, when the kids in Liberia in particular, everywhere else in the world, like here, we got more girls graduated than boys, but then we have the inverse reaction in Liberia.
Yeah, I think what is handicapping the girls, I think the reasons why the boys and the girls, go into early income generation, the same. The parents, they need help. In most instances, it's just that the girls will get, like Johnny is saying, some of them get pregnant pretty early. But yes, I mean, I've seen it. It's in everyone's family. By the time the girls reach 11, 12, 13, some of the mothers will put the beans around them, and tell them, you should be out, kind of encouraging them. So I think it's mostly because of socioeconomics. I think most of the parents they see most of the children, they see them as income generating assets. The boys usually they will go and help out, on the farm, especially in the villages. Where I come from in the southeast right now, the major problem we are having is prying those young boys away from the gold mines. They go to the gold mines, they don't want to go to school. And why? Because they're bringing in livelihood for the parents. In some cases, the parents are actually pushing them to do so. But the boys, they have a longer staying presence because they don't get pregnant as opposed to the girls. The girls, they go out there quickly. Most of them, no protection or any such thing, and so they get pregnant very easily. But I mean, I will leave it to Mr. Kessley here. And he will probably bring the professional eye. But while I'm on the floor, I'm having all kinds of texts here. A lot of people appreciate your presentation. One of them is one of my schoolmates, Ben Kessley. He's just said you are Kessley, so because you're Kessley.
I knew you were gonna go there.
So we've been texting back and forth. But let me just ask you this, and then you can please speak to this, because I think it was doing.
Let's just say what I want to say. So then.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So on the issue of finance, it's a major issue in Liberia. If you,
Mr. Cassidy, before you go there, we were talking about the disparity, right? Give us your opinion, expert opinion on why girls are getting pregnant at that age, or when you get to high school, why there's a disparity between the boys and the girls.
Yeah, so the reason is there are a lot of issues. One of the major issues is financial. Because parents are struggling. So if they have to choose between sending their children to school, they normally send the boys and not the girls. Because they have to make a choice. If they can send, they will send the boy and not send the girl. So the major issue is financial. The next issue could be cultural, Sunday bush, early marriage, and the rest of them. And then, as you already know, responsibility. Women have a lot of other responsibilities that are expected of them. So there are these issues. So we did a comprehensive analysis on it. I can share that document with any of you on the reason female are dropping. Also, what we decided to do was start to pilot the program, and then we can expand it as we get more funding. We started with 3,000 female students. So we provide them with, we'll first of all give them scholarship, make sure they don't have to worry about school fees. We'll give them like food and money to take back home to their families, so that their families can know that by having their kids in school, they're going to benefit something. We provide textbook. It's a whole program. So I can share that with you. That was pilot testing we did to ensure that because you can't have a country where half of the capacity of that country is not utilized. So we have almost 50% women. So that was the need. But let me get to the issue of the finance, because that was a major challenge. As I said, I was responsible for the budget for the ministry, and I did most of the analysis.
Yeah, not to cut you. The reason I asked the question, most of the people on the outside think when you call it 200 million, they like the 200 million and they just dump it in Kessley's lap, and he has to spend it. That's why I wanted to make the distinction that there is a expenditure budgetary process.
Sure, and no money sound big. If it's for individual or little number of people, we're discussing 1.5 million students. So, and we're discussing a country that don't have the infrastructure. Most other countries, they have the foundation or regime camp you add up. But you saw from what I read to you, that was the situation we inherited. But here's the situation. So we talk about a government. We have to be responsible for our own security. Now, in a reasonable person, you could go to the government library and say, give all the money for education. I can show you the numbers. If you take right now, on the average, we have 13,000 teachers in Liberia, public schools. We have around 2,900 public schools. We have around 700,000 public school students. If you divide that 13,000 by the number of public schools, you have like 4 teachers to a school. 4 teachers to a school. So if you remove the principal, the registrar, and maybe the vice principal, then maybe you have only 1 teacher. If you want to add on that, just on the average $200 per teacher. I want you to take the numbers and do your analysis. On $200 per teacher, you will be spending around $2.9 million monthly on teacher. If you decide to just increase the number of teachers to school by 10, that is include the principal. So let's say have 3 support staff and 7 teachers. You need around $101.2 million just for teacher salary. And every day we hear about, oh, the government spends so much money on recurring expenses. And we're discussing where most of the teachers are underpaid on the average of $200. Think about $200 in a town like this. So if you are to increase 1,000 teachers we have, if you increase the to 500, like I hear some people say, oh, when I become this, I will make every teacher to make $500 US. You know how much you take the entire budget like to pay teachers. So if the students don't have better health, how do they go to school?
Mr. Let me ask you this, and I'm sorry. I know you're in the middle of your.
The question I asked you. The question I asked today about the budget.
Let Johnny go because he's in Liberia. Go ahead, Johnny.
Sorry.
Yeah, because the question today I asked about the budget is after you did all the baseline analysis and assessment, for Liberia in 2016 or 2018, what was the government's plan and budget? Forget about whether you had the money or not. You're saying that 13,000 teachers across the whole country. That's more for all public schools in the country. So what was your ambitious plan? What's your ambitious plan? Even though you got the money or not, what's your ambitious plan?
Yes, on the minimum, we wanted at least 10 teachers per school. So we needed, on a minimum, we needed around $101 million just for teacher salary. So that's something we're pushing. So it was obviously clear that you cannot get that from Liberia as situation stands right now, unless you want to be very unreasonable. So what did we do? That's where we have to tap into our own relationship with donors and the rest of them and work on and see. So basically, look, we are not going to solve the education system in Liberia if we don't increase our revenue base. If Liberia don't become prosperous, if we don't have sufficient money. Look, the money we have is not just sufficient. If you take the entire national budget, it's 700 million put in education, you will still have a lot of things you need to do in Liberia. One of the most expensive things in Liberia is school feeding. Most people don't know that. But school feeding is very, very expensive. So just think about it. On the average, if you want to just say $10, just say $10 per student. Take 700,000 students in public school and say you feed them every day just $10. Times 700,000 by that 70 million. I'm not getting the correct number. So yeah, 700,000, you add 10 to 8. It's about $7 million. So it means $7 million.
Let me ask you this.
Wait a minute. You need $7 million per day to feed a student. $7 million per day. So multiply that by 12 by 365, or let's just say maybe 300 days in a school year. And see
9 months. You don't spend a whole year.
9 months, less than that, 9 months.
So see how much you need. So it's not as simple as it looks like when it comes to financing education. That was one of the major challenges.
Can I say something? If I may.
I guess a second, Anthony.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Nagbe.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm hearing you, and obviously resources challenged. I get it. Maybe that's where the innovation is supposed to. First of all, is the government of Liberia thinking about getting out of the instruction business and just giving it to the private institution and just kind of to monitor and supervise teaching? Because it seems to me the way you're saying it, this is the burden that we are not able to carry, and yet we pretend to be able to carry it, and we're failing our children. Do you think privatization should be the way to look, and make sure these schools are up to par, just make sure, they're up to standard?
So you see, right now we have 50% of our students in private school, and we're all complaining that the school fee is so hard, So it's something that we have to think about it greatly. We have to find a solution. We just have to find a solution. And the way we find a solution is that we have to make sure that education is everybody's business. Education should not be political sass. We should gather people around to have a clear conversation on how do we proceed with providing quality education. It's a very difficult task. I told you about the partnership school for Liberia. That was it was meant to have a private-public engagement. The government gave some private.
You mean the Bridge International thing?
Yes, the British and the rest of them. Yes. So that was another attempt at solving that problem. But it's difficult to do given our own context. Our people, we are poor, so we are a poor country. People don't want to admit we are a poor country. You can have so many diamond or gold under the ground. You are a poor country. I remember when I was in Nigeria at the University of Abuja doing my undergraduate. I remember Bill Clinton visited. He was then former president, visited Nigeria, and he said that the wealth of the country is what is in the hair of 8 people and not what under their feet. And he gave an example. He said Saudi Arabia have a larger oil field, but Japan had no resources. But Japan economy then was 4 times Saudi Arabia economy. So you can have the mineral under the ground. That does not make you a rich country. So we are a poor country. So we need to face the reality that we are a poor country and find a way to see if we can find a way to fund education.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Anthony.
let me just say this. So let me just say this. So as I said about LTTP, how much was spent on education during the Madam Sadi time, everything. So based on my analysis, I came to the realization the United Party led government, Madam Sadi, they want quality education. Like, no. But providing quality education in Liberia, given the situation we have, and then based on the situation to you, it's a very difficult task. So until we stop politicizing it and start to face the reality of what we have in Liberia and talk to people who have some ideas, I can assure you, since we left, we did education setup plan. The plan we did all the operational plan. We did everything. The entire team that did everything about the plan, about the analysis, about all of them. Everybody left the ministry. And since we left, just a minute, since we left, not a single person from the Ministry of Education right now even reached out. Just to reach out. Oh yeah, you did the education setup plan. What was the thinking behind this? Can you share that out there? No, nobody do that. A lot of people pass around like Liberia from station to station, projecting themselves education expert. It's not that simple. It's a challenging task. Librarians have to say things well, reach out to people.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Kessler.
1 minute, Mr. Gate. Let me work on Nora Hooks. Let me work on Mr. Adolphus J. Boymaport. Welcome. And Mr. Ronald Baltimore Campbell. Happy birthday to you. That's my church brother. He's tuning in from either Buchanan or Monroeville. And Asador Kia, Samuel Smallwood. We got our own doctor here. She's listening, Dr. Howard Jones. Thank you very much for tuning in. But let me go to Mr. Anthony Gate.
Man, fix electronics, Jerome. You got to recognize.
Oh, fix electronics. Yes. Yeah, the most consistent guy. I hope it's, I don't want to say guy.
Always on the other show.
Yeah, I don't want to say whether it's a guy. It could be a girl.
No, it's a guy. It's a guy.
Yeah, it's a guy.
Very knowledgeable on the issue as well.
Okay, Anthony Gay, go ahead.
So before I say what I want to say, Mr. Kessler, thanks for coming up here. I want to ask you one question before I make this statement I want to make. Do we have free public school in Liberia?
You are muted, Alton.
Sorry, I owe me myself. Sorry. So yes. So our primary school should be free. Primary school should be free. So it's free.
What do you mean should be free?
Yes, it means that you don't pay tuition. So there can be some fee like ADICA, PTA fees, but it should be free. We have compulsory basic education, free and compulsory.
Okay, let's address the issue right now. Should be, that means it's not right now.
But no, that's not what I mean. So I'm no longer at the Ministry of Education.
Okay, when you were there,
basic education, that is from 1st grade to 9th grade, was free, no tuition, public school. Then we also ensure that fees. You charge fees. ADICA, PTA.
What was the average fee? Let's just give a generic number. What was the average?
$1,000 Liberian dollar. Less than $15 US. Yeah. Less than $10 US.
Yeah, that's $5 right now. I agree. Yeah. The reason why I asked this question is very simple, right? So how many total schools at the time when you were there we have across the country?
Public schools?
Yes.
2,900 public schools.
So 2,900 public schools multiplied by $5. Keep that result. And I want to say something right here.
Yeah.
I kept hearing this thing about, people think school is easy, it is challenging. And look, kudos to those of you who went in the classroom, who did all the work for our students. But I think Liberia has not come to the point where the country has prioritized education as a number one thing. And here is the reason why. We can address the educational issue here in Liberia if and only if we are intentional about it. Forget about external help. Forget about donor aids and all of that different things. Revenue generation geared towards sponsoring or investing into education. Yes, the investment in education is not immediate. I get it. But it's an investment that is worthy and that will benefit the country in years to come. South Africa, being the number one educated country in Africa, gained her independence in 1990. And because they were intentional about it, that illiteracy rate right now in South Africa is between 94 to 96%. 96% of the population in South Africa considered educated. They did it because they were intentional about it. We can do similar things if we are intentional about it. We have a lot of waste in government today as we speak. Waste that could go towards education, healthcare, and then feeding our students should be the easiest thing in Liberia. You don't need to spend $10 US. You need to spend less than $1.50 a day to feed your student, because if we invest in agriculture, we grow what we eat. We have the soil. We have the climate type in Liberia. We are blessed. Today, Liberia possesses up to 46% of the rainforest in the entire West Africa. That's what we possess. Up to 46% of the rainforest. So we have the climate type, we have the soil. We can feed our students. But if you will take $10 United States dollar, that can feed almost 6 persons today in Liberia on a daily basis, $10 US can feed 10% or 6% on a daily basis. If you feed one student with that $10 US, you don't have the money to do that. But if we invest in agriculture, we can feed our students. If we cut the waste in government, somebody generator making $3,200 a month, that money can be taken away. The gas slip, the scratch card from lawmaker can be taken away, and government officials can be taken away, and that money can be geared towards education.
Okay, Mr. Gay.
And then we can also impose sales tax on alcoholic beverage and tobacco products in the country. Also go toward agriculture, education, healthcare. We got to be intentional. Their excuse is just too much, and that's what I'm going to stop it.
One question to you.
Yeah,
you 1 minute, Doc. Mr. Cassidy, 1 minute. Anthony Gay, you were an advisor to Mr. Cummings. Did Mr. Cummings put that in his manifesto? I didn't see that in his manifesto.
So when Anthony Tomalin was an advisor,
I'm talking about Mr. Gay.
But agriculture is addressed. Agriculture is addressed.
Okay. Now, go ahead. Go ahead, Dr.
Electricity is also addressed, but I am not an advisor. Let's just.
Mr. Gayman, you put a good position.
Yeah,
thank you, Mr. Gay.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Gay, thank you very much. So, Mr. Gay,
Mr. Gayman.
I spent. No, Mr. Gay, not Mr. Gayman.
Okay, Anthony Gay. Okay.
Anthony Gay, I spent some years in South Africa, so I did a master's in mathematical sciences from the African Institute of Mathematical Sciences, Stellenbosch University, South Africa, and then I went to the University of Cape Town, and I did a master in applied mathematics. So I was in South Africa for long. So I think you have not gotten the true picture of South Africa. So let me just let you know. South Africa, you say, was independent in 1990. Yeah, black call their freedom in 1990. South Africa have been led by the white and well built for the white. You understand? The white are well educated, produce some of the best scientists. The black, since 1990, there have been these affirmative action for blacks. So they've been doing a lot of things for black. But so do not say they came independent in 1990. No. South Africa, the foundation was laid by the white. They built that place, set up all of the system. Even with that, I was on the South African scholarship, their National Research Foundation scholarship. Because most South Africans, black, don't want to go higher education at best. So they have their own system issue. They got the best university on the continent, but it's not the same with the black. The black have a lot of disadvantage in South Africa. Now, look, as how you if
It's like Gayman.
If a whole Mr. Gay, if agriculture a day, if this one a day, if you're doing mathematics, if that's a problem. It's a difficult problem to solve. If this, then this,
call him on the studio.
Yeah,
It's like Gayman.
I'm saying we should invest in agriculture.
yeah. So,
one minute. Yeah, studio, what's going on? Mr. Sampson.
So there is a security call for 102 to Tusafi Panamfield. There is currently ongoing shooting there taking place currently.
Where?
Shot fired.
Tusafi Panamfield.
That district 12, right? Or district 13?
That's district 11.
11,
We check out district, the speaker district. I think 102 should, if he's listening, he should quickly say his man there.
Okay, we pray for the folks in that particular area. Keep us updated on it. Let me say welcome to Martin Willie. He's coming in from South Korea. We got Fix Electronics. Thank
Martin,
you for
asking your
tuning in.
question. Can you answer, please?
Felicia Hall, thank you for tuning in. Our good friend Desmond Finley from down under Australia. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, what's your question, Kromah?
No, I said Martin, asking your question. Can you answer, Martin?
Can I complete what I was saying, please?
Yeah, go ahead. The communist people got thin skin. Your communist people, you want to go to the party? Go ahead, Doc. Mr. Gay,
I wish everything you said could be true. That's theory. The practical reality is that's not what's happening. There are a lot of you. I wish who are involved with agriculture. I wish this and that. So what I can discuss is what I can discuss from education. What I saw, and that's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. What I'm explaining to you is that we have serious challenge with education. If going to agriculture or government fund, basically the government have to find the money to fund education. If we need to cut down waste, we need to do this, we need to do that. Fine. That's what we advocating for. So I don't disagree, but I'm just saying that it's not. So you should think about it. Think about it. Why you think we have not achieved it? Because we
have not been intentional about it. But Mr. Keseli, with all due respect, right? I can give you clear example here today. Annually, the country Liberia spent over 247 million United States dollars on rice import alone. If you take quarter of that money and put in the hands of farmer, you will have a different story. We'll do four things. We'll create jobs, we'll provide food security, we'll create opportunity for students to stay longer in school instead of letting them good performances in school because they're not hungry, they go into school, they are well fed. You are an educator, you understand if the student is well fed, they perform well in school.
So, Mr. Gay, that is not up for debate. I 100% agree with you, but my question is why you think since 1847 to now, we have not done that?
I just answered the question. We have not been intentional about education.
No, the question is why have we not been intentional? Is it that Liberians believe that education is not a good thing?
Good. Let me answer that question again. We have been very unfortunate with our leadership at the executive mansion level to have been that way. Liberia is a unitary state where the president has enormous power to do a lot of things. The president appoint as far as power matching, superintendent, city mayor. Imagine if 15 counties can elect their own superintendent, elect their own mayor. We will not have the circumstances we have in the country. Because one person has that kind of power, he can appoint a city mayor and a superintendent in the county as far as paramount chief. That takes away any competition. Today, as we speak, the president controls the executive mansion, control the Senate, control the House of Representatives, control the judicial branch of government. Where are we going? Everybody buying head to this one person. Nobody challenges his leadership. That is
Mr.
our
Gayman,
problem. So the
Yes.
only way Liberia can
Mr.
move
Gayman,
forward,
Just
we
1 minute.
must be
Okay.
yeah.
intentional
Mr.
So
Gay,
about education.
Mr. Gay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Johnny. Then go back to our
yeah,
guest.
yeah. I mean, frankly, we have to try to skip the conversation around the education because it's dragging into other aspects. So here's the point. I want to ask Mr. Kessler, with all the blueprint, because I remember the program you guys had in the BWI around the educational plan. I was in that conference as an observer. And I really thought it was a good document that was produced that could keep the bureau in the education system going forward. Did you guys have the time to have a conversation with the president? And because the president is the vision bearer for the state. Did you guys have the time to sit with the president and let him know where we are educationally and what the challenges and the value and importance of education? So the president could see that as part of his regular interactions, regular decision making, regular, whatever he's going to be doing, he will always consider the young people, the generation for tomorrow through education. So did you guys have the time to sit with the president to clearly make him understand what is needed, even if it cannot be done in his regime, but to let him know that this is what we need to make Liberia go forward in education? Did you guys have that time to do that with the president?
We met the president frequently. The president was the one who endorsed almost all of our policy, all of our plans. Everything was, every occasion of Ministry of Education, the president, either the president himself or direct representation for the president was present. We never needed to tell President Weah about education. President Weah was the...
Why?
Because President Weah is somebody who values education so much.
No, because that's not what I mean. Because went for me small. Because that's not what I mean. No, I can say I like education, but I don't know the technical details of education. That's what I mean.
What I'm saying is that we never needed to convince President Weah about education. We did share the technical detail with President Weah. You were at the summit. You saw President Weah sitting in the summit. President Weah had a lot of activities in Waben. You did see President Weah sitting in the summit. Every education program we had, President Weah was either there or he had representation. Education had no problem with having conversation with the president. The president is one person who gave him his own life history, where he came from, the struggle he had to go through. He had to use a God-given talent to reach where he reached. Even with that, he decided he would go to school. That's how he valued education. So he's somebody who believed in the Liberian youth, and it was a desire to ensure that Liberian youth have opportunity in life through education. Since not all of us will be talented, but the one thing is all of us can learn and can get a career. So I can assure you, the president was very much interested in education. And we did our almost best. So when you are OSA, it's easy to see all of the problem and bring all of the solution. But like I'm saying to you, we inherited a country, like I listed to you, the kinds of education setup we inherited, and then given the other situation we have, you have your country that don't have rural connectivity. We build schools in places very inaccessible. The government needed to pay rules. The government needed to keep security of the country. The government needed to deal with nursing. So it would be very unreasonable. I said repeatedly, what we could do is we talk to the government, look, government please increase. Government fund this. For example, we saw the issue of wire to be an issue. We went to government and said, government, despite us having this budget, can you help us to fund wire? The government did that. When we have the TS issues, we have issues with seating capacity. A lot of students were not having seats. We went to the government and said, please help the government. So whenever education make a request, the government will always waiting. In fact, the government went to the extent of making public university education free. The government went to the extent of making wire free. No president who does not believe in education.
So my point now is, what was your budget? Come in. What was your budget? What was the comprehensive budget that you guys, without having money or no money, but just the theoretical idea that to make Liberia have this kind of education that we want to envision, this is what Liberia needs. Did you do that, and what was that amount?
We did that. So, like for example, right now I can tell you the education setup plan that we have for 2022-2027 is budgeted about $1 billion.
$1 billion.
Yeah. 1 billion.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 billion. A budget $1 billion.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Okay. Honorable Cassidy,
Thank you.
one of the criticism that the present government, when they were in power, when they were in opposition, they had against you was you made a hasty decision about free college tuition. It was not thought out because it flooded the different universities and they didn't have the corresponding funding to accommodate those young folks. What were they thinking behind that, and what was the expected funding?
Yeah, so anyone who says that it was a hasty decision need to do further investigation. First and foremost, you need to understand the importance of tertiary education, the rate of Liberians that are going to tertiary school, and what are the effects on the country. Many of you said, many of the pundits, oh, we got Firestone. Firestone is not producing tires in Liberia. Oh, we got metal steel. They don't produce steel in Liberia. Look, the first thing investors look for is talent. Is well-educated people. Not, vocational education is important to contribute. High school education is not what investors want to look for. So you must have an educated society. You need to have medical doctors in your country. Sufficient medical doctors to attend to your people. You need to have engineers. You need to have scientists. You need to have researchers. Go look at the University of Liberia. What was the percentage of enrollment? On the average, 45,000 students sit for WIA exam. So let's just assume that 40,000 pass or 30,000 leave high school. How many students go to all of the universities in Liberia combined? Do you have even good 3,000 going to university like Liberia? We have less than 15% enrollment. That is the total enrollment that you needed at the university level. You have around 15%. And what were the issues for which you are not having this enrollment in university? The major issue was people could not afford to go to university. That's a major issue. It's not like you have people who they can afford, they don't want to go to university. No. Look at university education. How you expect your country to get prosperous? Who don't want to make more money to have their family living well? So that was the situation we encountered. So one of the things we could do was we made the public institution free. Now, how much were students contributing to public institution? Have you taken your time to find out? Find out how much they were paying. No, they didn't pay me up to $5 US per their tuition. So you just take $5 US and multiply and see how much is that. Bulk of the money, as we all know, every sector of government is the government that is paying. The major thing is maintaining the university, paying the instructors, government pay. So we're not making anything.
Mr. Minister, let me ask you this, and I'm sorry for bugging you. You're talking
Can I just
about,
complete?
no, because this is all budget thing. You're talking about how strapped the budget is. But I was shocked to understand that institutions like MCSS withhold whatever money they generate. They don't send it to the Ministry of Education. Is that true?
Because,
and why?
Because they have autonomy. That's what we try to decentralize. They have autonomy, so that's not a problem. All we need to do is make sure that whatever spending they are doing is accounted for and it's within the plan.
Yeah, but they're retaining that money and then you're giving a budgetary support at the same time.
No, so government is taking care of, most often government is taking care of the recurrent expenses. How much are they generating? So much. Do you think MCSA can generate more?
I don't know, but enough for this guy and his girlfriend to be living plush like they were in the news.
Yeah, so that's an issue. That's an individual. That's corruption. That government should take care of corruption, and those are individual cases. Let's discuss the general issue. It's the duty of the government to prosecute people who are misusing public resources. But take your time. Find out. Okay, you have, let's say, 15,000 students at the University of Liberia. How much were they paying in tuition? Because government did not say don't pay registration fee. Registration fee will not remove. It's only the tuition that is credit hour. The money you pay per credit hour, government took it away. If you are paying $5 per credit hour and you have 15,000 students, just do the mathematics. And then let's say you take on the average of, if you take 21 credit, the maximum credit at the UL, and calculate how much. So what my disappointment is that when people have done investigation, they have realized the long-term benefit of the country having A lot of qualified people coming out of university, and they come up with policy. If you have an issue, especially when you are like a senator, or you are an opposition in authority, you should see it as a good thing and then call the ministry. How about sit down with the ministry and say, oh, you did it, how do you get the funding? Or you could even suggest and say, since maybe we're making too much money and the Universal Library need additional $5 million, let's all reduce our salary and send the $5 million. So the policy was a very good policy. And if it was not a good policy, it would have been canceled. Why is it not canceled?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let me reintroduce our guest here. This is Honorable Alton Kessley. He has a resume that I can't read. It's too big for me. But he's an astrophysicist. That is small. So at this time, we usually open the mic for the folks to call in. We have done a lot of lecturing. You have opened a lot of eyes. So let's open the phone line. Myean is around for the next 30 minutes for us to take some call. While we are working at it, let me welcome Ato Solo and Malisin K. Yadolo. These are folks that are stakeholders when it comes to our public spaces. Mr. Seleke Fofana, you were in the government. I know you've been quiet, but you got to be impressed with your deputy minister here.
Well, and I will in that regard, I will put the question back to Anthony so that he can answer that. Obviously, I am aware. I just want to take out the level of deputy ministers across the former government. Mm-hmm. There were many of them with impressive resume credentials, as Anthony, though his is a little exceptional, but of course they met the benchmark. But then, Anthony, here is the thing, a little bit off the education. Why did the perception existed that the citizen government never had competent people? It was a government people were up. So why you think that was, as an educator, a social scientist as well, why you think that perception existed?
No, I don't think. Say, what do you think the opposition push that narrative?
Okay, why you
think that's the question? So yeah, so the same reason the opposition push all kinds of narrative, like the CDC was doing nothing, they were stealing the money, and at the end of the day, they have to go and dedicate project that CDC started, and now they create embarrassment for themselves. How do you say CDC was stealing? They were doing nothing, but here's a project they embark on. So the argument now is that the project started with Madam Ellen Johnson said, even if it did not start. The same reason. So the opposition, to some extent, many of the young guys, which many of them are no personally appointed, but most of them are arrogant. And it's a normal Liberian thing. Being in the education sector, I see there are many Liberians, there are a lot of Liberians who really have interest in education. They really want to learn for knowledge. But there are many Liberians, the political driven, like
somebody grounding. Is it Mr. Samson? If that's you, please mute.
There are many of our young people, particularly young people, the political driven ones, who went to school just because they want to have title and they want political position. So it's a very sad thing in Liberia. So what many people do is, because you want to be relevant, because you want society to see you as the expert, then you should create a narrative that the other people don't know anything. And I think sometimes it's fear. That if you have the other people also around, then it will become obvious that I don't know how much I think I know. So that's how they begin pushing the narrative. Oh, you know, CDC guy, no educated person. But Fofana, take your own time. Take the ministers listening. You don't party like government and see their competence. Take the CDC minister listening and see the competence. Or take the current United Party like government and see the competence. You'll be amazed. But I think you know already. You'll be amazed. So I think it's just the usual politicking.
Okay, another follow-up quick question on this. A legacy of the citizen government was this issue about the free public education, university education. I mean, it was one of
tuition, not education.
Oh, tuition, okay. But it was one of the first time, if you may, it was one of the first time in our country after all of those existence, at least an increase in enrollment and stuff like that. I remember sometime on the show, a critic said that policy, that approach was ineffective. How do you respond to that? I don't say that those are not my words, but since you on the show, you for research, it's an opportunity to address it. So perhaps the president was a panelist on this show. I'm sure he might be listening now.
So if it's difficult answering short of question because it's too general. If somebody says it's ineffective, you have to be clear what you mean it's ineffective. The policy was meant to increase enrollment in tertiary institutions. They achieve it. Did that stop the university from ensuring that quality should be there? So here's the point. Whether you increase enrollment, you don't increase enrollment, the issue of quality still exists. So every policy have a well-defined objective. The objective was librarians are not going to public, librarians are not going to higher institutions of learning, and it depriving the country of the needed skilled manpower. So what do? The major bottleneck to not going to tertiary institution was people could not afford to go there. So make it free. And when you go around Liberia, sit and talk with Liberians, you realize that our problem is very unique. First of all, it's unfortunate to say, but not many Liberians are very excited about education. So you have to convince Liberians the importance of education to even go to school. There are a lot of Liberians who want to go to school, but there are many Liberians who, for some reason, there's a mindset that look, education is meant so that I can get a good job. So if I can get a good job for education, then what is the need of education? Because a mindset. So if you have a society like that, you have to motivate your people to go to school. And how do you motivate people to go to school when the university is difficult to enter because of the need to pay? And those payments may look small to many of you. But in our society where people are struggling for a lot of things, just going to university free, it makes a lot of difference. And you know for Fofana for true, you know what used to happen at the University of Liberia, where there was to be long lists of students looking for scholarship all over the place. So our objective was achieve the university enrollment increase in Liberia. Whether there was quality education produced, if somebody come with a statistic and show that before our program, the quality was better than when our program existed, that's quite different. Another thing here is infrastructure. Oh, the wash, this and that. The university was collecting, the government level, they don't stop the university for collecting fees. They never stop the university collecting fees. We didn't say cancel fees, we cancel tuition. So collect the fees. That's one. Number two, the university have the university presented a clear plan and work on. Like I told you, I'll show you the statistics. These are long-term problems of infrastructure. It's not just university like you. So yeah, so we achieve our objective. If anybody challenge that, you need to ask them in clear terms. What do they mean by
Thank you.
We
got a question for you. No, 1 minute. We got somebody on the phone. Your name and where you calling from?
Well, my name is Kehleboe Gongloe. I'm calling from the state of Pennsylvania. And good evening, Mr. Kesali.
Aton Kesali.
Right.
Yeah, Aton Kesali.
Yeah, so I really don't have a question for you, but I have a quick comment. During the time you were at the Ministry of Education, I was actually teaching at the University of Liberia. I don't disagree with you that the free tuition policy was a good policy. But I think my concern was, I think we needed a phased approach to that policy. The way it was introduced abruptly, it made me to feel that it was not a well thought out process. Because, for example, for 2 years I was at the Department of Mathematics. I would go to class in the science building on Fender because I was working on a Warbank project. So I would actually take my project stationary, basically use it on the university student to give them handouts, printers. the Dean of Science College or the chairman of the math department could not give us paper ring, could not give family members papers. And when you talk to the chairman, say, hey, the dean, we don't have. So the university, it's true, the university was still collecting fees, but in terms of management, it was just lacking. So, and it was a good policy, but in my mind, I think it affected also the standard of instruction in the university, because I could afford, because I was doing a very good paying job, I could afford to work in stationery store and buy markers for whiteboard. I could take my own projector to class, my personal projector. I could do other things. I could print bundles and bundles of papers and give it to my students free of charge. I don't have to charge them. I have my online resources from my previous university in the US, Rowan University, where I was teaching the same statistics course. I made it available to my students, but that was just me. And I had to even make my statistical resources available to other faculty members who were in the math department. So, but if you listen to other instructors, they were crying from church people. They didn't have that, And I just thought it was a good policy, but the way it was done, I'm not sure whether there was a meeting with the university administration as to this is what we intend to do, here's how we're going to do it. I'm not sure there was that meeting of mine. I just saw like a gathering in the auditorium, and this policy was announced. And the campus went gay, and I was it. That's my short comment.
Thank you.
All right. So the numbers to call.
Allow me to respond.
Yeah, 1 minute, Doc. Let announce the number, then you call. Go ahead.
The numbers to call 0772 17 61 73. I repeat, 0772 17 62 73. 0772 17 62 73. That's the number to call.
Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead, Mr. Kessler.
So, thank you very much, Mr. Gongloe. So the good thing is, you agree that it was a good policy. So, if you understand, look at your personal life. So most of the decisions that you make, especially the critical decision you have to make, do you really sit and keep thinking? If you keep thinking, do you go on with those decisions? Given Liberia how Liberia is politicized, where every issue becomes an issue for debate. If you found a very fine idea and you want to implement it, is it not good that you carry out the fine idea and then follow on implementation and working on? Yeah, so I do agree there are some limitations in the implementation of the policy. Yes, but it's a good policy. And those who needed to be consulted were consulted. Like I said, we have a lot of stakeholder engagement. We had a joint education center review. A lot of stakeholders met and had a conversation around it. We met in other meetings like the ESDC, the Education Center Development Committee meeting, and these things were discussed. So the good news of who are there, and so what we expect that we all can work on making it better. Where we get disappointed is when people come and say, "Oh, the idea is bad." I have said repeatedly, no problem. There should be competing ideas. If you feel one idea is bad, you suggest a better one. It's easy to say an idea is bad. Suggest a workable better one. So whenever there's a workable, it seems like the Obamacare. That's the kind of thing. People, oh, you didn't consult, you didn't do that, you didn't do that. At the end of the day, a better one.
Excellent. Excellent. Now let's go to let's look at some. Let's look at some.
Please.
Let's look at some.
128 million people on that thing right now. 128 million.
Let's look at some of the statistics here. Did I hear you say we were either first or second to South Sudan in in pupil education?
Let me see. Let me check it. I think all the school kids, the number of children who should be in school that are not in school. So we're second to Sudan. That is the Unity Party document they turn over to us. That's why we're rating there.
Wow.
So,
we were second to South Sudan with children people out of school, kids out of school.
Bad.
Yes. Johnny, you are a statistician too. The reason I like talking to Johnny because Johnny
is on the ground.
Johnny actually has field experience. He's in the trenches. Johnny, when you look at this number, right? When they're talking about 55% of our students are out of school. 55% of the student population are out of school. Second only
6'5".
Oh, 6'5". 6'5".
Of children now of children age
yes
6 to 14. We're not including children before the age of 6. We're not including children beyond the age of 14. Just between 6 and 14, you have 65% off of school. That is so.
That's a bad number.
We inherited from the Unity Party the government. That is written in the Unity Party-led government document they turn over to us. So I just want to get the state of situation. So when anybody come and play, the Unity, the government, they run education, this and that. If you read these documents and you still make that statement, then you need checkup.
Thank you.
The people don't need checkup. You know what the people need?
Anthony Gay, 1 minute, please. Johnny, go ahead. Johnny, I really like your side.
So the issue with Gayman is, like in the last few days, I've been discussing with people, right, telling them what is our post-conflict niche as a post-conflict country over the last 20 years. What can we show as Liberia alone? We are from post-conflict. This is where we are making major headways. So in one of my discussions, I'm telling my colleagues is that I think we missed the mark during the Manasari regime. We think we missed the mark. In my view, that was when we were more attractive to the world after all the years of conflict and war. And that was when we should have a clear vision of what we want to make Liberia in the next 25 years. For example, I just asked, I kept asking Kennedy about their budget projected, whether they got the money or not. He said 1 billion. That's realistic. That if be more than that. If for example, that have been the budget expectation of President Salif in 2006-7, say, look, as a post-conflict country, we got these almost 100,000 young men that were disarmed, children that did not go to school here. Part of the rehabilitation of the country is we should improve education and build the minds of the young people. By this time, we don't have what we're doing in the country. We feel that. So it's so dangerous that you have school going age between the age of 6 to 14, right? They're not in school in the country. That tells us that we have a dangerous future. We have a dangerous future that if we're not careful, and like I always say, we might end up being the Haiti. Because our dangerous politicians who taking advantage of our ignorance and they know better, they are living on people's ignorance and manipulating them to keep them in power, and they're not giving back to the people to give them what they need, which is education. Look, I saw something the other day, about WIAC. And I got sick for the day. They will tell us that we need to do more. So that 1 billion projected by Kehleboe and his team in 2018, 2019, that 1 billion should have been President Weah's primary objective. If he said, look, I'm a young man, I grew up in the slums, and my impact in the economy will be education, whether I face rule or not, but my number one priority will be education, and that 1 billion became a concern, I believe he would have planned a strategic plan to go out in the world, look for funding, look at what we can raise for the country, and begin to engage into that. That would say we ain't no poor, but he made sure that Liberia education system was raising from 50% to 75 or 80%. But that did not work. But the question you asked, Mr. Gayman, about our young people, my statistics that says that people between the age of 6 to 14 are not in school in the country, around the country by that time. That's dangerous. Imagine that was 2016 or so, 2014. So 10 years now. So those who were 6 years old that were not in school in 2014, for example, or 2016. Today we are 2025, 10 years ago. Are they in school? They didn't go to school. But meanwhile, they are part of the population and they have reached the age of voting. They have reached the age of making decisions, and they are now clear in the mind about what to think, what to say. And so Liberia is just in a serious social problem. It's a serious social problem. So that all sociologists, all social scientists will see that as an issue, research it more, and provide a clear and direct policy advice to our government currently and for the future.
Mr.
And Johnny, that
Nagbe,
was the same line we're going to take. But since you said what you have said, let me proceed by saying what I want to say now. And this is where it's
I
never
didn't,
too late.
I,
Yes,
I didn't call your name. You want to filibuster the thing here? You next.
I'm
I
sorry,
wait.
Mr. Give me
Your,
my turn to
your
talk, please.
ANC people, you don't wait for your
Hey,
turn.
need an ANC thing. It's
Mr.
like
Mr. Nagbe, Mr. Nagbe. I'm looking at the number here. According to Honorable Kessley, when they turned over note in 2017, coming to 2018, they needed a minimum 6,200 teachers needed just to keep your head above water. That's what it is. Not just teachers, but quality teachers to keep their head above water. 6,200. And I'm not seeing anything like KRTTR, ZTR, all those other schools that used to be primarily teacher training institute. I'm not saying it. Maybe it's there. I'm not saying maybe Honorable Cassidy can address that later. But how do we make up the gap? 6,200. That was then. Teachers have retired. Some have died. Some just quit. So this number might be close to 10,000 by now. How do we bridge that gap?
I mean, you alluded to that, and it reminds me of the pronouncement that the CDC made in the early days of bringing some 6,000 teachers, I think, from Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if the minister has spoken to that. But yeah, the gap, I mean, he's doing the numbers here, and I'm just listening. I'm just kind of blown away. The gap is a problem. And then there is also the question of qualification, qualified teachers. And I don't know, Minister, if you're familiar with Philip Plewin. He has written quite extensively on his understanding of the problem, problem in the education system in Liberia. I mean, he reports of going to a classroom where a 15-year veteran teacher could not pass sixth grade math the test. He thinks this is a deliberate manufacturing of ignorance. You know, we prioritize, form over substance. He gives an example of a physics teacher. I don't know why physics teacher was teaching electron configuration. That's something they teach in chemistry classroom. But anyway, the point he's making is this guy is drawing these electron diagram orbitals without explaining to the student why, for instance, an atom would behave the way it does. And the point that we started out with that point, that's why I asked you about inquiry-based learning. We think if the students understand why this is, it is easier, to master it, as opposed to, just taking the notes and moving forward. So I was hoping because when you talk about the Bridge International, I thought that was an attempt to help scale up the qualification of our teachers in the classroom. I mean, I have been involved with Barobo for quite a while now. Over the past couple of years, we have a major problem. Our high school was down because we couldn't even find C certificate teachers. And we just managed to live that up. But the problem of volunteer teachers, we're dealing with that. We have to subsidize teachers from over here while they were going through the process. So, it just really apparently you said that we're too poor for what we want to do. But, I just wanted your understanding of how you think. And again, I'm coming back to whether we should just leave the instruction business as a government to private institutions. I know you talk about school fees and things. But I'm listening to you. I know you've done a lot when you were there, but it seems to me that what you did, with all due respect, was a drop in the bucket relative to what is required. And this is not a dig, knock on your performance at the ministry. So let's look ahead and probably, look for the bright spots, possible bright spots in the education system. I know the current budget here, I think, is $105, $108 million by this government, and you say even the $700 to $800 million will not be enough for the school. And I agree with you. My Jersey here where I live, one of the smallest states, the education budget here is over $1 billion. You know, so we have a problem, but we have to be, in my opinion, we have to be creative. So again, can we go back to giving the instruction to private institutions and finding a way to address the cost of education that this private institution would charge, and just monitor and make sure they're performing based on the curriculum that has been designed by the national curriculum designed by the Ministry of Education? Is that something we should look to, or you just think the cost alone?
Honorable Kessler, this man is a Republican. He wants to privatize everything. You are muted.
But I'm sorry for the long-winded question, Mr. Minister, but that I just wanted you know.
Mr. Minister, we can't hear you.
You can hear me?
No, the minister.
Yeah, you're muted, Mr. Minister.
Okay, we got a question here from Joe. We got something. We got an idea here from Honorable.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So on the issue of privatization of our schools, so the basic objective is we should have a school system where students get the actual learning outcomes that they need. We should have that school system that is functional. How do we go about doing it? Those are things we got to discuss. My personal opinion, as Liberia exists right now, it's very difficult to privatize public schools, given all the other circumstances. We see education as a public goods, and the Constitution says the government should provide education for all of its people. So if you're going to give education to private actors, then the government has to provide the funding to that private actors. And that could be more expensive than the government is running its own institution.
Yeah, but now you're subsidizing. So
I'm giving my personal opinion. Okay. What we did when we were at the education ministry, we made sure we engage in stakeholders meetings. Most often issue like this, we go to education summit or we go to a joint education sector review, and that will be an issue that everybody will discuss and will get a consensus and you convince. I don't think the government of Liberia will be against privatizing school if it's workable. But I think you have my personal opinion, I think it's a very difficult thing to do. Education will remain a public goods. We just need to find a way to make sure that we can make it affordable. We can make it to provide the quality that is needed, and we can ensure that the government fund education.
Thank you. An idea here from Joe Monyu. He says education in Liberia needs to be reimagined. The focus should be placed on critical thinking instead of learning or rote learning or memorization. That means transforming the curriculum and retraining teachers. Now let's look at rote learning versus critical thinking. And another piece to that is things electronics. It says when that much gap in age and education, maybe a major part of our curriculum should be towards vocational training, where if they can go to that, they can go straight into the workforce. Those two issues, how do you address them?
Thank you. So one of the good things is our well placed to answer such a question. Like I said, I did an undergraduate in Nigeria, University of Abuja. I did a master's degree in South Africa. I went to the US and spent some time at George Washington University. And I have a lot of experience with different academic systems. I can assure you, when I went to Nigeria, I realized that we have some of the best education system in terms of what our students had to learn. I sat down with classmates in university who I could tell them that Liberia had border with China, they would believe it. I had professors who I could say Liberia is bordering the United States, they would believe it because their education is so specialized. And then what used to happen was most of the bright students, before the semester starts, they collect all the past questions and start memorizing and learning. Most time they learn to pass exam. And when I go back to Liberia and see our school system, we're learning concept. So we really have not have our school is our system, because we inherited the American system. Is not meant to memorize, it's meant to learn. Our challenge we have been the teachers and the learning materials. So when you hear of the ARAS, Project Improving Resilient Secondary Education, the idea was we are performing very poorly in university entrance. When most of our students go to university, they don't go to the sciences. So we wanted to target the sciences. And then we realized the question was, why is it our students are poor at mathematics? Why are they poor in the sciences? And so I started with the World Bank team. And I told the World Bank team, I said, look, let me tell you something. My personal experience. I left off my point. When I want to cook, I call somebody from my community. 6th grader, 7th grader, 8th grader. Please go in the market. When I take a piece of paper, I say, I want to list all the things you buy, they get angry with me. So why you listening to you? I want to go buy. Just call it, I will buy. They buy the chicken soup, they buy the pepper, they buy all of this. They don't make one mistake. And if you report that in mathematics, that's a complex arithmetic they are doing, but they do with ease. So I said, the problem would be the material they are being taught. Somebody said, like, you're teaching mathematics, your example, that apple, that winter, and this and that. Teach them, let the book have everyday life. They will understand it. So that's how we decided to write textbook. I think we spent up to $5 million to write over 1 million books that we share around. So I can show you that our issue is not, liberal school were not meant for you to memorize. They were meant concept. We have the problem with teachers. We have the problem with even the curriculum. That's why we made sure the curriculum became competent based. And so we just need to improve on our system. We just need to make sure that we have the qualified teachers and let use the examples in the country. You discussing faces, use our everyday example. Give an example of somebody living from Red Light to Broad Street and the car is traveling at so speed and this and that. They will internalize it. But if you start the abstract thing, that's the problem we have. So at the very early stage, our students begin to hate these subjects like mathematics. I tell everybody mathematics should be the easiest subject. It should not be difficult.
Yeah.
But challenge away because the way mathematics is presented to you is so abstract. Somebody discussing set. All they need to tell you say, go when you enter the supermarket, why do you think goods are packed specific areas? They don't just spread everything around. And you start getting a concept of what set is. But how do they teach you set? They give you one abstract definition. So basically, those are the things we need to do.
I agree with that knowledge.
Yeah, so let me say,
I want to address the
I know Kasari, for example, teaching physics, like in Lofa, we build bucket bridges, right? That's clear physics, right? We make bucket bridge, we build a bridge across the river without no modern technology, but our own traditional method or skills. If we use that kind of thing as an example to a physics class, and those guys that are in the Lofa area know that they will never forget that concept. So I agree with you. We should teach based on what is on hand.
Yes. Let's address the vocational part of it. Now that we're having a lot of folk dropping out of school.
Sorry, Jerome. It looks like there are people in the back. I think admin, Susan, I'm seeing. I'm sorry.
I keep telling them this is like, I won't tell you what. You check out, you can't check in. Don't leave.
No, nobody in the back.
No, I think Ahmed's already here. I think he turned his camera off, right?
Okay. I think Susan. All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
Susan was in the back.
Yeah.
She's not there. Okay. So, Honorable, can you address the vocational training part because you were in Nigeria and other areas? How did they deal with the grown kids that cannot go back to school? How do you put these people back into the economy to create a middle class, a working class? How did they deal with it? Because we don't have the solution to that yet.
We do have the solution, so we're implementing the solution. So all you need to do, look at our TVET program. TVET, the technical vocational programs, was a major part of the CDC educational plan and policy. So like I told you, we
excuse me 1 minute. Honorable George, can you move our guest because the stuff is on, like he's hiding behind the logo, so we can see him. Can you switch him around?
Okay.
so the folks can see him, so they can know. But go ahead, Chief. Keep talking while we move you around.
So we spend a lot of time on a TV program. So if you go, like I said, when I was explaining our achievement, the Vanjama Multilateral high school go there and see the TV program. That school was completely destroyed. We built it. About 11 TV program. In fact, our plan was to ensure that we have a TV institution in every county. And the reason behind the TV program is just what you explained. Given the overage of many of our students, not everybody will be able to go to college. And there are just some people who don't even want to go to college. So you should go or means.
I'm sorry. Tommy, can you guys please check the back again? I'm sorry. It looks like someone's in the back again. All right. Thank you.
So we have a BTV program. So you can just check the TV program. So we're doing a lot on TVET. We are doing the formal TV, and then you have youth and sport. That do a lot. So go to MVTC. Go to all of the multilateral schools. They are well equipped.
Okay, Chief Tomalin George.
They're not well equipped. I can speak of
you
that
are,
one.
you are just coming. Your turn before our guest. We got
Otherwise, I'll be the senator now. Then you help.
We got 20 more minutes for our guest.
I mean, he outlined a lot of great points.
Mr. ANC, on that. Mr. ANC, I'm not talking to you. We are talking to.
But I'm supposed to speak, and you keep. I don't know that.
Yeah, because I didn't call your name. You just jumped me. Your name is not Tomalin George. Chief Tomalin George, your turn.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Kessler, it's good to see you again. Let me thank you for your service to our country. Once you have served the country, you always got to recognize the present service. The new education ministry leadership, they have not been so kind to the CDC education ministry leadership. They've been saying that you guys didn't do a good job at the ministry. And how can you make that clarity, the difference between what they are doing the last almost 20 months as compared to what you guys did in 6 years? They are saying that, in fact, but then to the contrary, I don't know, from what I'm gathering, the WIAC results this year as compared to WIAC results in CDC first 2 years as compared to UP first 2 years, the WIAC results and so forth. And also the statistics about the amount of young people that are in school today, and females, whether they have increased or they have decreased. Compare these. So they have people great things, making contrast to say, well, on CDC, the female rate enrollment increased, the male enrollment decreased. Whatever the case, you can provide it to us because you are the research guy of the ministry. I'm sure you have all of these statistics to your credit. But if they are making a comparison, will you say that they have the first 2 years they have done a better job than what you guys did?
Thank you, Mr. George. So, Mr. George, if somebody says they're doing better, you ask them, let it list what they're doing better. To the best of my knowledge, I don't know what they have done. Everything that is being done there, to the best of my knowledge, I'm saying to the best of my knowledge, they may have done something I don't know of. Everything they're doing there is what we were doing. They just continue what we are doing. So we give them an education setup plan, 2022 to 2027. One of the major requirements of that education setup plan is that we agree with the donors that every year you must review it. You must see what have been achieved, what have not been achieved, what the new reality, so you can readjust. Since we left, the forum that is called a joint education setup review. They have not even held a joint education setup review. So how are they doing comparison? Another major key thing you need to do is data and statistics. I learned that they have just started collecting data and statistics, and they went there. And we are putting into place all the mechanisms for collecting data and statistics. We got the resources. There's a GPE capacity building fund. There's another set of funds from UNICEF, from the EU through UNICEF. And we got all of the funding that was needed. We did all of the concept note. And in fact, we instituted our means of doing data, because for the first time in education ministry history, we did our own statistics on our own. So we have all of the mechanisms in place. Almost 2 years. They have not done data. So how are they doing the comparison? So you just need to ask them. So it's difficult to have the conversation. Those are political talks. So you just ask them, say, what have you done different? Many of you say our free education policy was bad. Have they canceled it? Many of you say our wire payment was bad. Have they stopped paying wire? And tell me, if you want the wire result, go to the JESR 2022. The wire boss presented our wire results. So you see what we got in 2017. What we got in 20, you extremely bad, like 15% passing, and it pushed up to 87%. Well, but check it. These are statistics. So we gave them a better education ministry, like I listed to you. You were not around Tomalin. I told you what they told about teachers. They went to test teachers. 8th grade test. And according to them, over 4,000 of our public school teachers could not pass. So that's the kind of education ministry inherited. So whenever somebody comes to it, so I don't want to engage in the argument of who doing better or not. I can list to you our achievement, which I have done, and I can reference to you where you found them, and let them come and present. It's a challenge. When they come and present anything, you call on us. We'll respond to it.
Wow.
Thank you. Myean, you're watching this show, Myean. Make sure you do a story on this man presentation. Do a story, put on the website, put on our webpage, and let the Boga Education Ministry let them respond. And for disclaimer, the Education Minister and the Boga Administration, my kids empty. Let me just disclaimer. But I'm saying that you guys read a story on it, and let them challenge it. That what the man is saying that he's speaking, maybe they think he's speaking differently.
I have a question related to comparison. I know, Chief, if you have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm done.
Thank you. Mr. Minister, can you speak briefly to us about the recent spate of disqualification of higher, tertiary institutions in the country? I think these are institutions that enjoyed certification under your, administration, and yet Dr. Edwin Wonkoyo at the Higher Education Commission. I mean, he's decertificated a number of institutions for several reasons, ranging from poor environment, lack of enough instructional material, to poor academic qualifications.
Yeah, so but what you need to do is first find out who was the head under our administration. Did you find out who was the head of higher education, the commission higher education?
I'm not sure if it was Dr. Slowing. I'm not sure.
No, it's the same person you call. You are not being changed.
Oh, he's the same then.
Yeah, it's the same person. So you're not being changed. That's one.
You need
to see the structure of the government, the education ministry. Like we said, there are a lot of autonomous agencies.
I hear you. And again, you just explained to that.
Education is not really education ministry thing. What we do, our participation is we sit on a board. We are the chair of the board. So they do their research, they do their accreditation, they do their investigation. So under a regime, he accredited those institutions. And after maybe some review, and there are processes used to accredit institutions. Sometimes what they do is they give you provisional accreditation, and then later on they do research. If you don't meet certain, they cancel. So by him now disqualifying institution, very institution that he get accreditation to did not mean that they were qualified. Like he just gave them provisional qualification, and they did not meet the requirement, and he disqualified them. But many things on higher education, I'd rather you talk to them. It was.
I got one question. Because I have a question. What was the teacher to student ratio when you took over? I mean, the country, and where did you leave the teacher to student ratio in 2024 or 2023 when you departed the ministry?
You are muted.
Oh, I can find out statistics for you when it's well documented. But let me tell you why it's difficult. That is no measure. In fact, in our report, we do a caveat. The reason is very simple. It's difficult to calculate who a teacher is. So in our definition of a teacher, as long as you are teaching at a particular level, you are a teacher. So if you're teaching ECE, you teacher. If you teaching elementary, you also teacher. If you teaching junior, you also teacher. So you can be 4 teachers or 1 person. If you teaching public school and you go to another school, you are another teacher again. So because we don't have any way of uniquely identifying who a teacher is. So if you look at Liberia teacher to student to teacher ratio, is very, very small, very nice, very good. Around 27. But in reality, that's not true because we just recounting the same people over and over. But let me get a number for you. So that should not be any measure to take serious. That's the point I want to make to you. So what we want to do was
but 1 minute, because I did 1 minute. If we say this is what we want, we want to make sure that in our country, every classroom should have X number of students to teacher. And we know that this is our baseline. And so moving forward, maybe like after every 3, 4, 5 years, we want to get to this point. So that in the next 15, 20 years, we'll make sure that we have classroom of 27 students or 25 students to a teacher. And then the teacher's quality will also be in line with their subject matter. So that's what I'm asking. What is our projected mindset or mind about teacher to student ratio as it was in 2017 when you told 2018, and when did you leave in 2023?
So that's what I'm explaining to you. What I'm explaining to you is that giving the situation is not a useful indicator because you don't have unique way of identifying teachers. So what did we do? We decided to do teacher listening and giving teacher unique identification. So we have the whole set. Now? That's what we're working on is nearing and we establish a set of excellence. So we're going to make sure every teacher have a unique identification. If you have teacher with unique identification, then you can get a clear idea how many teacher actually in the system. You don't understand? But what we were more concerned about, because another thing is that teachers are not equally distributed across the system. So like statistics, there will be all liars. Because you have private school, a lot of teachers in one school and this and that. So for all, we don't count it as a serious indicator. But you can check the statistic report, 2016. You will see what were there around probably 23 students to a teacher, maybe around our time 15 or this and but we don't consider a good indicator. What we wanted to do was get the teachers with unique identity, ensure that teachers are teaching only at the level they are qualified for, because our situation existed. You have somebody with C certificate teaching junior high, and that should have been a B certificate. So my point is there's no need of paying too much attention to this. It's not a very good indicator because the way it's measured in our statistical report.
Because you see, like my man home in Barabo, right? In Barabo. I went there, I spent 1 week in a Barabo region. I was in that place. I felt like Liberia were not making progress because I saw a lot of young people in that place, young men and women. They are basically just doing farm work. Education was so much, like nobody had attention for education. I was in Western. I went all the way back. So there's a place almost near Grand Crew. I mean, so bad, so bad. And if I live in Liberia, they need to sit there. They see where they see people benefit from education.
The place near Grand Crew is where Mr. Pewee came from.
That's the point. I went to that place, Nagbe. I felt like, why am I Liberian? Why are we teaching ourselves like this? You understand? And I had to drive motorcycle. The road was closed entirely closed. I drove the motorbike in the bush, the leaves, and things, they rubbing on my skin because at one point I believe that once I'm doing this work, and not because I'm taking pay, but because I must achieve my objective, and people must know what's happening in the country. I went to that farm, my brother. I felt so bad. So bad. I'm about
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we got about 10 more minutes with our guests, so we're going to be wrapping up. Go ahead, Honorable.
Mr. David, the issue is you and myself know fully well that as situation exists in Liberia, as they've been existing in Liberia, the teaching profession is unattractive. People go there most cases when they cannot find any other thing to do, so they are only there looking for something else to do. So if you have a teaching profession where people are only there while they're looking for something better, you have a situation where people when they find something better. So we have to make teaching attractive, and that's something we. It's a very complicated stuff because to make teaching attractive, you have to.
That's why we need 1 billion. That's why we need 1 billion.
You have to pay a teacher first of all well. Yeah. If you can teacher well, somebody find a better job, they'll go to a better job. That's a sad situation, but that's the reality. So we need to find a way to make teaching an attractive profession.
Thank you, Doc. We got 5 minutes. Your party comment. Anything special you want to say to us? You want to say to our listening audience?
Yeah, thank you so much. So thank you for having me on, for giving me the opportunity to provide some clarity. Like I said, everything I said, I was only using the Unity Party-led government documents they gave to us. Their 10 over note, their JSR report, their education sector analysis, the minutes from the education sector committee and the local education group, and so and so. That's where it came from. So that's an open challenge to any of them who want to challenge whatever I say, can challenge it. And whenever they challenge it, I'm available. You can call me. But education is everybody's business. When some of us were growing up, we grew up during the war, and we have to go through very terrible education system. Nevertheless, like I was going to Torgbean High, William V.S. Torgbean High School, where I have 8 periods. If I had 2 teachers, if 2 periods there were teachers.
Are you listening?
No, I can't hear now.
Yes, High School.
I can't hear after 6.
So, if I had 2 teachers in the 8th year, I was very fortunate. But we decided on our own to learn. We had extra reading among ourselves. We went extra mile. And then after a while, I was fortunate to leave and went Nigeria. Okay. So when I went Nigeria, I realized despite the limited quality education, I was able to do extremely well. That was the pointer that Liberians are smart. We are brilliant people. What we need to do is we need to create the environment so our young people can learn. We're going to create that environment if we remove politics from education. We need to attract our best man. We need to attract people who have clear ideas. Some of us were fortunate. Not only that, we went to countries. We studied there. We learned the system. We saw how things are being done. And given our own intellectual ability, our analytical skill, we were well positioned to be able to do statistical analysis and analyze the system. So we need to get together as a people because it's important for Liberia. If we don't educate Liberia, we'll keep in the same circle of politics. Door E, door. Everybody must fight over a few positions and you should bomb off another person simply because you feel that they will be rival for your position. So, gentlemen, thank you so much. The listening audience, thank you so much. I'm always available. Whenever you have specific question on education or my personal experiences at the Ministry of Education, I'm always available to share that with you. When you have statistics on education, like I told you, I spent the last 6 years in data science, machine learning, machine and deep learning. So whenever you have any issue on any of the analysis, statistical report and stuff, you can reach out to me. I will provide my services. Thank you very much.
Oh,
thank you.
This is we're talking about the Cardinals.
Cardinal from Lofa.
Oh, everything from Lofa you're clean now.
I think Kasari, do you speak Loma? Kasari, do you speak Loma?
I don't.
All right. Liverpool, you're with Mr. Middle. I gotta ask you because I get it. Are you a sedition? I gotta ask you that. Are you a sedition?
Whether you want to recruit for MC?
Of course, I'm on about sedition.
My man is off limit. Carry a recruitment.
Tomalin George, I gotta say this here, and the incompetence of the leadership of the CDC. You brought 2 sedition on here that the entire world is convinced they are the best that Liberia can offer. So what happened?
What happened?
People been asking, right? Like the reason why I came back, somebody was in another meeting. Somebody said, "But go on closing argument, man. The guy you got there, that guy working with our government." I said, I know you are the deputy minister. So, but what were the guys? What were they? And you had the other guy again. You had the guy from Public Works,
Chesson.
Yeah, and honestly, people just thought CDC, but people just who ain't know nothing. Because when you see the other guys that do the Amanda, the thing to everybody, no, they got professionals. Okay, and again, I will say this: they should do more, because if citizens want to make someone come back, these are the technocrats that need to make the case, the convincing case. Tell us, look, I don't know what you were thinking of, but what were the guys? These guys are being up there and making the case on the campaign trail. I know they're not politicians; they are technocrats, but yet and still, when it comes to politics, you come to do it. They should have been there making the case for them, you know. But they were all, we didn't see them. I mean, who knows? Now people's worries about where were the guys? Where were they? Okay, now people are asking the question about where they live. We don't know. But now we're talking about Tomalin, where that be strong towards now.
Kasari is on the tail lane. Kasari is on the tail lane move.
So the thing is that,
are you on the tail lane, Johnny?
Tomorrow we have
of course. I mean, I'm on the tail lane.
Tomorrow we have another citizen minister.
I'm on alternative to the two.
The former minister will be our guest tomorrow. Honorable Diesel Wilson will be our guest tomorrow. Minister Wilson.
Diesel.
Tomorrow.
Who?
Diesel Wilson will be here tomorrow, and he will be addressing several issues. And also, I know Senator Joseph. We can talk with him. Maybe he will be making his debut too, coming to closing argument. And I want to just say, before the minister, I think he left already, but the CDC chairman today, I think he spoke very well. The acting CDC chairman, Janga.
Man, let's do post interview analysis. These are CDC business.
No.
Let's do a post interview analysis.
I will talk the analysis, but this is what they want. They want to my mind. Janga coach.
Education.
My man, I will talk my own back. He spoke well. He said, Sir Joseph, the living CDC is a blow. The man will look it. So I know my man Akaros can be talking. So Akaros, Sir Joseph, as senator, you know me, senator voting more than representative vote. Sir Joseph, you may say what you want to say, but he leaving CDC. That's only my yes say no. He means nothing. It means a lot too.
So what you want to do?
I have agreed to what he said. I think the timing, all the thing is another discussion. But he leaving the party. That's when I put it. Just say, well, let him go. No, you can't do that. You do politics that.
So what you want to do? You want to go? What you going to do?
Well,
I'm not active in politics right now. I'm not active. I'm a talk show host right now, so I'm into politics. So I guess I can give my free independent advice to all the sides until 2029 before I make a decision. But my candidate will be in the race. We'll be announcing our candidate next year. We'll be in the race. I will tell him we're coming.
Thank you. Hamed, your evaluation of this man.
Well, the brother in question is a colleague. I know him. I didn't expect anything less today. He represents, of course, a group of young intellectuals and professionals that occupy positions in the government. I trust them. They're there. But yeah, I asked him that question because myself wanted to know, why is it that I'm aware I saw the people, I interacted with them, I saw the listing. For example, after the election, we did a listing of close to 1,000 persons in terms of their qualification experience. 1,000 of them. I think the minimum qualification was a graduate degree on a listing, an official listing from the party. And all CDC people, about 1,000 men and women, young. So is that true? So like I said, how is it that narrative stay on us? I think that's something we need to define. And you rarely say, if you do not define yourself properly, the other people will define you. I think over a period of time we didn't push back on that perception, on those situations, so it got stuck. And so everybody, regardless why, because sometimes some of the very people that challenge your qualification, some of them even step foot in classroom before. And so that perception just existed. And in politics, perception can become reality. But of course, Kesley, he's a data man already, so I think he was presenting facts. And the thing, one of the most important points I took from his presentation is that he wasn't trying to be political. He was clear that the issue of education, like perhaps drugs and other things, social issues, should not be political. we should avoid it to the extent where you say, look, the new guys in there, all they need to do just reach out and say, look, how do we do that? And I think it's a good thing for us. That's a problem we have in the country. We're quick to say government continuity. We want to claim the projects. We want to dedicate projects, but let us also try to tap into the institutional knowledge that existed so that it can help. You don't have to put the person on just a common letter, just a common something. I think is good for our government. I'm sure maybe Mr. Nagbe could confirm that, but I'm sure it happens in different parts of the world where former government officials provide expert opinion or insight on issues that the new government can, particularly. So you just take over. If you claim you took over a mess, at least you want to have insight from those who are leading to help you pick it up. I think to a larger extent, it could have helped them in a way. And Cassidy is saying, look, we open. It's not about party. We always must be prepared to help our country. So I think that was really great of him.
You know, my time to close.
No, not your time. Johnny, because Johnny generator burning a lot of fuel. You gotta go. Johnny, go ahead.
So I mean, thank you, Mr. Gilman, for the control you have on the conversation. I think we make a lot of impact on our listening audience. But one thing I registered, I identified here. We received how many calls? I think one call, right, on the discussion. And that, in fact, that call, for me, it will not count because it was from one of our partners, Kehleboe Gongloe. So, what the point I'm making here is that Liberia, our interest is not education. General, our interest is talking the everyday politics. If we have one person speaking politics here, we are receiving 120 calls tonight. But see, the young man opening our eyes on what happened and how Liberia should move forward with education. And everybody say we should do good for Liberia in education, or we should do better in Liberia. But apparently, society has not really realized which aspect of our system we should emphasize on more to do. That one thing I pick up from this call. But let me say to our panel, our guest, Mr. Kesari, normally they tell you why one is from Lofa, gotta be good, and moreover, you want to Tomalin High again. The Tomalin High is the nation's highest secondary education in Liberia. Nobody can debate that. Nobody can argue that. That history. I did not go there, but I've been making some follow up and research. This is where great guys have come from. Even though other kids from other high school like Kehleboe High, no problem. But he has a record, and so I'm proud of him as a young man. I took notes. Maybe eventually, if I have issues, I will call you guys. Let me know his contact so that we can be able to communicate more. I didn't hear much about the TRs, the Weber Teacher Training Institute, Kakata, and so. What did they do to upgrade those places? Because those are areas where teachers in rural Liberia should go to for trainings, refresher, activities during the course of the period when schools are closed. But I think he did well to give us information. I'm hoping that the government, people that listen to this program, will not see his presentation as being confrontational, but to move forward with Liberia. It's all about Liberia making progress. You should not see his point that he made as issue of confrontation. And that's why he tried his best to not be political. He was reading everything, giving reference to statistics and reports, and he tell you go on Google, you'll find it on Google. So I hope that all of us, will make the necessary research and make sure that we have the information that we need. But it's a serious matter. And I don't know why the Southeast has a problem with education. When I say part of education, when I say part of education, Mr. Gilman, I mean, less schools and less attention to education in Maryland. I remember I was in a grand crew in Barclayville some years past.
You're Lofa
and the school,
you're new to education.
Listen, give me what I think. Give me is no attention.
Where the man come from? Where you come
from? I went to the school campus. The school, the student was telling me that for the last.
Lofa came from the southeast.
I was thanking the man prison for going to.
But let me say what I have to say. What I'm saying is that I don't know why people abandon the schools in the Southeast. I went to the high school in Barclayville. The students did not have biology teacher, physics teacher, math teacher, and chemistry teacher. And they were preparing for YA exam. So I said to myself, how do we expect these guys to make pass? They want to be condemning them. and we don't give them what they need to make progress. That's the point I'm making. Unlike the schools in Nima, in Lofa, in Bong, in other areas, Magibi, I think they're trying their best to put something together. But in Southeast, I was so worried. Why is Southeast abandoned by government? And not just now, in the past. That's the point I'm making. When I went to Barabo, why get a school there? Nobody there. The men teaching the children. The children all on the block in the class, no real bench. And they are living in the forest where trees are, and people long there before. You know, so that's the point I'm making. Not that I'm condemning the Southeast, but I don't know why people condemn the job for Garguah the Southeast.
Just kidding, just kidding. One of the problems that they have is the guys from the Southeast, they're very sophisticated, very smart. They never return. They never give back. When they graduate and leave, they don't come back. Mr. Nagbe, you're closing.
Yeah, I mean that's part of the major problem, the neglect, and then like you're saying, we're trying to get back. I mean, there is NAMCAL here, the National Maryland Contest. They're doing a lot of work, and then there is Buddha, that's the Barabo United Development. We're doing a lot of work, but the problem is huge. So it requires a lot more than we are giving, than we're able to give. But you're right, the whole Southeast, especially in Maryland, Barabo, the places are cut off. It's like we are the forgotten part of Liberia, but hopefully, we will recollect. But let me so quickly recognize the young man who just came here. I think he really brought a lot to the table. And Jerome, you pointed out all jokes aside, this is part of the CDC's failure, even the UP, the ability to tap, talent and personnel management. This is a problem for them. You have these. I'm sure these are not the only guys. I am almost certain there's a lot more that we never heard of. We heard of Jefferson Tamakoji running up and down and doing nonsense. Oh, Monrovia. But those were the people who represented the face of the CDC. And that's why when people walk away and say the CDC was full of a bunch of guys who didn't have respect for education, that's why people were saying that. They will not say that about this gentleman who just left the stage here, or the guy we had here last week. But congratulations to him. He did well. I really hope you'll come back again. Like everyone pointed out here, he tried really to stay out of politics. Obviously, he grappled with some of the problems, they're big. But I wish he had talked about, putting more emphasis on training the teachers. I know he talked about the compensation, but here when the teachers come into the classroom, one of the things they do, they don't drive them away if they are deficient in some area. They do this continuous training we call professional development. They are built into the calendar. Every calendar year, there's certain hours of professional development that are built in there. So the students will come in, maybe half a day, they go home, the teacher will stay, or even sometimes a whole day. The teachers will stay. Sometimes they bring an expert from outside, or they review theory. They do all kinds of stuff. But they don't shame you. They don't drive you. They give you opportunities to improve yourself. And eventually, everyone gets better at it. I hope you were spoken about that. But congratulations to him. I wanted to mention here, this is noteworthy. I know we're not saying much, but you know what? This is political season. The chief came in and took a shot. He said, Jerome, he's kind of surprised that we're getting excited about what's happening, and I get that, Obviously, Chief is not very happy, that we move in. We move. But look, we have the luxury of looking back not too long to see some of the failures, that some of our guys suffer. The ANC that I supported, the CPP, there are some of the things that we're trying to avoid now, where some of the pitfalls, we know this is an early start. It's too early in the game, but we are built for it. We factor that into our planning, and we'll continue to build up as we go to 2029. So that's that. Two, I like what Chief said about call response. I read some of the responses from the cities, UP people. We're having crossovers all over the place. There's a guy, Tanu Dadu, who crossed over from UP to CMC. They say he was insignificant. But what Cole said, I believe that is what is doing the job of an ultimate politician. You don't condemn. You continue to leave the window open. Although I didn't appreciate him telling him, he will change his mind and come back. I thought that was a little bit condescending, but notwithstanding, I think his approach to the whole matter is probably the best I've seen in recent times, where he's not going out to acknowledge that the guy is leaving was a problem, but he's hoping that somehow they will be able to come together. Finally, Musa Azambility is calling the government. He wrote an open letter to the president of the Republic of Liberia. Apparently, there are moves, preparations underway to recast the budget. Apparently, the guys in the Capitol building have used up all of their appropriations, and now they're going to recast the budget to refill those holes. They're going to go and plug money out of other places and reappropriate these monies. So Musa is writing the president of the Republic of Liberia to not sign on to this. And we are sounding the warning in the CMC. These guys are bleeding our country dry as it is. They need to stop already. Apparently, they have used up all of their appropriations, and now they want to recast the budget to appropriate more money. We are not going to stand for it. So we're calling on the president and the government of Liberia. They should not allow this to happen. We're struggling as it is. They should leave the budget as it is. No recasting of the budget. No new appropriations. Thank you very much. Great show tonight.
Thank you, Marvin Kodog, Charlene Doe, Roland De. Hopefully I'm pronouncing the name, Jam Aboro. Thank you. Be Thankful Addison, Pele Orita Woleto, Cole Potter, thank you very much. Abel Wen, I love that name. Abel Wen, thank you very much for tuning in. Well, Aliu Creighton, he said he's tuning in from Ghana. Aliu Creighton, thank you very much. We got people across Umatro, my own cousin. She's married now, and our last name there, you got a hyphenated name, Umatro. You can't drop our name like that. Eleanor Davis, Joseph Molly Walakande, thank you very much for tuning in. Chief, can you take us out, please?